What's happening? Yeah, I didn't go live yesterday. I had one of the most profound experiences of my life the other day. And boy, was it weird. Because you gotta have pain to have growth. You gotta have loss and turmoil to have growth. It's the only way you can go. No. But it was a pretty fucking wild situation, I can tell you that much. I'll tell the story a little bit later, maybe. Oh. It's really weird. Stu Peters. Why is Stu Peters allowed to say what I've been getting blocked for saying? I mean, it's great to see, except for the fact Stu Peters is a fucking bigot piece of shit, but at least he's saying some of the right things, I guess. I don't know. Like, it's so strange how many people are in this truther mentality, but then they're still Jesus freaks. How does that even work? How can you possibly believe in, like, the main control scheme nonsense, but you sit there and pride yourself on, I tell the truth, and I don't fall for the scams, and I see through shit. Like, how does that even work? The whole Jesus narrative is so shocking to me. It's so crazy. And then because of the Jesus narrative, you get the divide, the homosexual hate and all that shit. Like, it's just crazy. It's crazy how well the thing works, even in situations where it really shouldn't. I mean, it should be more obvious. It should be obvious that it's bullshit because of the narrative that you're given. But it doesn't work that way, I guess. I don't know. Fucking strange, man. Yeah. But the whole Israel stuff is just, it's like strange, like it warms my heart. It makes me feel good to know that other people are finally fucking saying the same shit. It's clouded by certain elements of it. But, like, people calling out the false flag that October 7th was. The 100% shit narrative that October 7th was. No Israelis were killed or taken hostage on October 7th. It's all been shit. And it's that way because you don't have anybody trying to prove it wrong. The only response you ever get to the accusation, to the claim, to the outing of the truth is that you're not supposed to say that. Don't say that. I don't like what you're saying, so you can't say it. It's basically a larger version of what happens on my feed, but it's still just the same sort of bullshit over and over again. And that can't be coincidence. It can't just be, I guess that's just the way it is. It's not. It's a very programmed system that is infiltrated every aspect of this. It's not, I mean, it's uncanny. It's not possible. A larger level, the same sort of bullshit happens on my feed. Why can't anybody ever have this conversation? If I'm wrong, how could I win the conversation if I was, making the argument that unicorn poop is the key to salvation? How many reasonable, intelligent arguments could you even make in that regard? What's up there, Augo? Your buddy Stu Peters saying the same shit. Good morning, Matt. Guys, if you're watching, fucking take 2 seconds to share this on Facebook. Don't be a coward about it. Who cares if somebody gets mad at you for what I'm saying? If they're mad, then they should tell me. They get mad at you because that's who they can argue with. You know, that whole narrative that people argue what they can argue. It really, like, when you start to see it, it's amazing how all-encompassing it is. When you start to take notice, you see it more often. Like when you have a Jeep, you suddenly realize how many Jeeps there are out in the road. You never paid attention before, but now you do. It's the same sort of concept. Is, you know, when you finally see it, you see it everywhere. And it's shocking. It really is to see like how uneducated and ill-prepared people are to be able to have reasonable conversations. I'll go, man. I had a fucking crazy like drug-induced experience the other day. I guess I got enough people here I can tell this story. So the other day I decide I'm gonna take my kids to frisbee golf. And you know what? I have a couple of these gummy things that my neighbor gave me. You guys saw. And so I took 2 of them. I've eaten whole packs of gummies before, and it's barely done anything. So what's 2 gonna do to me, right? So I'm out walking, and it's just the most perfect day, and it's beautiful. I got the kids, everything's perfect. And then it just started like, it was like the whole id thing, my inner voice and my outer voice were separate. I was like, it was such a strange feeling. I got so fucked up and thought I was gonna die. I thought, man, something must have been in these gummies. Somebody must have fucked up. I don't know. I'm gonna be the, but it was like I ended up calling my wife. She got dropped off at the place where we go. She got a ride all the way out, had to drive us home. I swore up and down like, I'm gonna die. This is crazy. I can't believe it. I feel like my shit's gonna end. And at the same time, I knew it was just because I was too high. I knew it. But I couldn't get over it. I couldn't get over the idea that something must have been in the gummies, or just, my body, my life is just, I've pushed things too hard, and now it's just finally catching up with me, blah, blah, blah. Like, it was the strangest, like, worst feeling. It was so fucking bad. I cannot believe how fucking high I was. And it lasted well into yesterday. It was a multi-day thing. I've never had the edibles hit me that hard before. Like, it felt like I was on acid. I felt that fucked up that I was on acid. I was tripping the fuck out. It was such a strange thing. But yeah, that was my story. But at the end of the day, my own personal shit doesn't really matter that much, does it? What we're witnessing right now is shocking. It really is. Like, so Stu Peters he's calling it out. Like, he's calling out Trump as being Netanyahu as being Trump's handler. And I mean, I really don't know. Like, I don't know what else has to be done before people actually start really seeing it. Because even the talking heads are starting to say it. And it's it's fucking crazy. It really is just fucking crazy. And I just it's nice to see that people are waking up to the idea that it's not just the invisible house. It's not just Israel. Israel's almost its own scapegoat, right? Like, as long as you're sitting there blaming an inanimate a country, fake borders created by the system to say that this is their country, then you're falling for it. But it's the cult. It's the J cult that is the real problem. They are a disgusting, horrible cult, and they do horrible, horrible things, and it's finally starting to come to the light. But it's still kind of, it's still taboo. People are still going to be too scared to say it because they don't want to be labeled anti-Semitic. And it's because they don't know how to respond to that. I absolutely love when people call me anti-Semitic because it just shows me how stupid you are. What a manufactured, manipulated clown you are. Because anti-Semitic refers to all of the people. Semitic is all of the people of the region. The Palestinians, the Syrians, the Lebanese, the Egyptians, the Iraqis, the Iranians, all of them are considered Semitic people. Semitism itself is the problem. And Semitism is the policy or predisposition favorable to Jays. And you should be proud to oppose that. Like, hell no, I don't believe one group of people deserves favoritism over everybody else. Deserves policy and predisposition. The rules and regulations along with the way that we look at things is favorable to them. No, I don't support that even a little bit. And I wouldn't support it if it was anyone, That's the thing is, like, this is a supremacist policy. This is a supremacist belief. We're talking about supremacy. And it's that supremacy that we need to be against, It's that supremacy that is the real monster. And you're just seeing it. You're seeing so much happen. You're seeing, it's like the whole Trump presidency is dabbling in this and dabbling in that and all these different distractions. They're going to rename the Gulf of Mexico. Oh my God. Distractions. And they go from like, it just, whereas whatever it is might get 5 minutes of airtime. The Israel stuff is the constant elephant in the room kind of situation. They really lagging your stream today? Of course they are. No, that's not what's happening, Matt. That's not what's happening. I'm just walking in between the cell towers. I didn't pay my bill on time because what T-Mobile does when you don't pay your bill on time is they wait for you to go live and then they lag your live feed. They don't affect anything else. Just if you go like, these are the excuses that people give. But when you're, it's fucking silly. I'm outside. I'm in flat ass Michigan. I'm outside of Detroit. There are cell phones all around me. So what's happening to my feed? If it's not being purposefully disrupted, what happened? this is you at this point, at this point, with all of the evidence that exists, with the like, it's understandable that your parents didn't do this, your grandparents didn't do this, because they didn't have the access. Everything your grandparents, parents, people, previous generations, everything they knew was carefully selected and crafted for them to know. I know you're literally outside and your streaming never lags outside. Oh yeah, it does. Yeah, it does. But I say this a lot, and people either don't get it or get upset, but you are so much, the people today, I know we're supposed to be these idiots and we're supposed to be the worst generations, blah, blah, blah. We are the smartest people to ever exist. Not this bad without interference. I mean, show me the other feed. Show me the other feed that is, that checks all the same boxes. It's really that simple. It's just like everything else. It comes down to common sense and stupidity. It's 2025. I'm in Michigan. I'm surrounded by cell phone towers in Detroit, blah, 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 blah. What reason would my cell phone signal in life, why wouldn't it work? What would be some other reason why this much interference would be happening? It's just common sense. It's just simple. It's really simple. And it's the same thing with our ability to look back. Go look at the oldest videos that exist. Go look at all the old paintings. I've always thought this. It was kind of strange, but just whatever. I tell you guys always, look at the backgrounds. Looking at the old paintings or whatever. First, you're never going to see old paintings where the sky looks like that, where you get the chemtrail lines in the sky. For all the people that say it's just clouds, all the time, because they didn't have a whole bunch of, it's not like back then you could paint a polar bear if you lived in Rome or whatever. You never saw a polar bear before, so how would you paint a polar bear? At least according to the narrative. But they used to paint the sky all the time. How come none of the paintings show the sky looking like it does today, with lines and lines and lines and lines? And it just doesn't, they don't exist. But the other thing about the old paintings is look at the backgrounds. You'll see it time and time again, where in the backgrounds of the paintings, there are skyscrapers. There are incredible, there's incredible infrastructure on display. And at some point, you have to accept this idea that, we don't know how they built the pyramids. We don't know how they built the churches, the castles. We don't know how they built the aqueducts and the Colosseums and all. We don't know. That's not an acceptable answer. And it's bullshit. The only acceptable answer is that an advanced version of us lived here and did these things. Go look at all the buildings that still exist in India today, where they show you where they have a ball inside of a concrete and it moves up and down, or the concrete spins, or the concrete, whatever it is, the marble, whatever it is, spins. They're just starting to figure out the technology that you can use a laser and cut a rock to make it look, at least new us. From, you have to cut that cord. At some point, you have to cut the cord. Not just the pyramids, the insides of the pyramids. You know, they're not tombs, but the big boxes, the whatever it is boxes that are wherever they are. It's fucking stupid. We weren't building the Empire State Building in a year. We couldn't do that. The Chrysler Building, all these places in the northern hemisphere, in the north, it gets cold. Even if it was sunny all year, you wouldn't be able to do these things in a year's time. So they're clearly, I mean, it's just as clear as fucking day. You know, the stories we're given, just that the whole Tesla narrative. Tesla is a character they created. No family, no relatives, no nothing. He just this one-off. Died broken alone. And according to the narrative they give us, the system stole all his tech. Hid it away from us. He had rooms full of tech and they came in and took it. Stole it all. And it's like, when do you realize if they're lying to you about all that shit, they're absolutely lying to you about Jesus? That shit is so goddamn stupid. People always tell me, you need to read the Bible. You haven't read the more I read of the Bible, the more bullshit it is, and the more obviously chosen it is. You know, the every character in the Bible is Jewish. Every single one of them. At least all the main characters are. Why don't people understand it? Why don't Christians understand that? Like, it's shocking. I just can't wrap my head around why you would willingly believe and then therefore give in something so stupid. It's really a dumb story, that, you know, and one of the biggest proofs is that every time I do this, nobody comes in here and puts me in my place. If anything, every Christian that dares to open their mouth fucking embarrasses the rest of you. How like, there. Where's the pictures of the sky looking like that with all the lines in it? That's just what clouds do, right? Where are the paintings of it? You know, the whole idea of like of Airbuses and all of it. It's just fucking stupid. Why are we, you know, find the oldest movies you can find, oldest films you can find, oldest pictures you can find from anywhere. There's a great page on YouTube called Jared Boosters. I can't remember how he spells it. Jerrid, I think. And he has all these videos where he would pick a city and then, you know, find all of the old photos from that city or that region or whatever it is and show you the oldest photographs. They don't show a world that you're familiar with. When I start talking about 1800s, how many of you picture skyscrapers and flying machines and you know, tech that just blows people's mind? Like, how many of you think about that? You don't. You think about like thatch roofs and wooden shacks and shit like that. It's such a strange, existence. The insistence on, you know, maintaining the status quo in order, I guess, to not get made fun of or not be ostracized. I just went from 7 viewers to 2 viewers. At the exact same time, 5 people were like, fuck this guy. That makes sense, right? That's how that works. Matt's still here. I mean, just my feed. Have you ever seen anything like this before? Have you ever seen a feed where someone has such difficulty maintaining viewers that want to be here? Have you ever seen somebody's feed where you can honestly say months ago that person had thousands and thousands of viewers, and then since then it's gone down, considering everything I'm saying is becoming more and more right? Literally never seen this in my life, only with your channel. Which it should be extremely telling to people. When you think about the millions maybe of channels you've seen throughout your time, well, thousands and thousands. Thousands of channels that you've seen, you've been on, you've watched videos, you've seen lives, you've seen anything. That mine would be unique in any form. You proved everything I claimed. Either I have or the system has. You know, everything I'm saying, all you got to do is pay attention. And it's either I'm a fucking psychic who can see the future and all this other shit, or it's all just really obvious. You're just not seeing it. You know, it's pretty simple. And so you have to ask yourself what it is. Like, it's strange to me that it doesn't inspire people more. Like, I don't know what else you need. I don't know what else I could provide you to get you to understand what I'm saying. No, I don't. It's right there. You know, I really don't. Like, you know, receipts. People always want receipts, whatever. What else can I show you? What else can I do? Are you expecting Donald Trump to come out and give an address about how the system censoring Guy Williams' feed? And when you look at somebody like Stu Peters, you know, Stu Peters might be saying a lot of the same shit, but he's also still pushing the division narrative. Right? He's still pushing the idea that gay is bad. He's still pushing the belief in Jesus. So even though he's saying what could be considered inflammatory things and whatnot, he's still pushing the control one way or another. But I mean, what you know, I just can't, I don't know what it takes to motivate. What does it take to motivate you to, I don't know, like at least Matt, you know, whether Matt's a bot or Matt's a real or whatever, I've motivated Matt to come to this feed every day. You know, even if he's, you know, playing a role or whatever, which I don't think he is, but, you know, if he is, he is. You know, what would I be doing that would motivate people so much in that regard? And what is Matt just somebody that's just so different? You know, is that what it is? Every time my feed gets into the teens viewers, it suddenly kicks back and it's not like that anymore. Like, what else do I need to show you guys? The craziest part, and I've said this now for quite some time, I've been able to say this now for quite some time, is that if literally anything else happened, I'd be wrong. I'd be wrong. If China were to do the big attack, if Russia were to this or that, like, I'd have been wrong. Literally the only way it could be right did. They didn't take a break. If there's 5 people here, then 4 of them are them. But that's a great, Team Jorge is a great example of it. I don't know what else I can provide you. Team Jorge being exposed, it literally proves the point. It proves that Israel controls social media. They brag about it. They prove it. And see, this person thinks they're making like some sort of positive comment. Donald Trump is God. Like that should tell you something. That should tell you the level of stupidity and hypocrisy that these people live under. Because, obviously this person's a dumb Christian. And as far as dumb Christians go, well, you're definitely not supposed to be worshiping anyone else. Your God is very sensitive to that. And yet to go down that road shows you that they don't even believe in their own shit very much. Shows 2 for me still after refresh. They came back once I said the word Jorge. I mean, if you really think about it, why would anyone come to this feed repeatedly if I'm wrong? You'll hear the idea that it's entertaining. It's entertaining for me to call you a piece of shit, pedo J, genocide supporting, like women hating, like that's funny. Like that's the craziest shit to me. Yeah. Your God is a pedo. Trump is a pedo. That's why we had COVID. That's why they brought out COVID. It's one of the reasons they brought out COVID. And it just shows you, again, what horrible pieces of shit these people are. Biden smelled a girl's hair and he got labeled Creepy Joe. Trump was best buddies with Epstein, said all kinds of horrible shit about his daughter, his own daughter, has been convicted on a bunch of fucking sex crimes. And then has used his power to obfuscate us from that and overturn some of it and all that. Like it's just nuts. It really is nuts. And it shows you what horrible, awful people have to support Trump. Because they're supporting a pretty well-known pedo. And it should shake things up. And then again, you see, like they're just stupid. And Trump represents their bigotry, their racism. And so because he does that openly, he's a orange white guy who is openly racist and says horrible shit all the time. That's what they support. They can't sit here and support his policies. None of these Trump supporters come in and talk about all these great things he's done. Oh yeah, well he did this and he did that. They don't do that. It's all, again, what proof do you need? You can't expect the system to just come out and tell you, these racist pedo pieces of shit Trump supporters, they're not going to come out and be like, fuck yeah, I'm racist and I'm a pedo and that's why I support Trump because he's just like me. They're not going to say that. You have to read between the lines. You have to see it for what it is. Why any American, especially if you're like one of those real, like, I'm a constitutionalist, I'm America, America's great, my family died in the wars, so you can have your freedom, all that kind of shit. You should absolutely hate this motherfucker. Even this, look, you put it out to them. Go ahead, say something that he's doing. Say something that he's making things better, and they have nothing. He's weeding out poverty. Yeah, that's a thing. And when you say, okay, so compared to who? Like, we're all poor compared to him and his cronies. But this is what I mean. Like you never, like, you can't even get them to talk about it because they're just stupid. If you're all about Trump and America and all that, then why are we giving so much money to Israel? Why is Trump clearly Netanyahu's bitch? I mean, it's never been more clear than him pushing the chair in for Netanyahu. But, like, why are you so okay with that? I thought you were racist and you were all about America, white America. Why are you so okay with billions, trillions over the years, but billions of your tax dollars being given to a genocidal, group of maniacs that hate you? They hate you. The Israelis don't like you, you average dumbass. Like it's just amazing that, I don't know, that I guess it's a horrible example of how truly racist and awful our country is. Because I guess they hid it well for a long time. And they just kept it underneath the cover, under wraps a little bit. And now you have this situation where what's that about? I mean, again, I love the Trump commenters because they just prove the point. Like, this person is just proving that all they can do is speak in manufactured phrases. They don't have anything else. They like, you would think if somebody says, well, hey, make a good point. Show me why your thing is real. You don't just go, my thing's real. No. Explain it. My thing's real. Like, it's just it's really shocking. And you wonder, like, what personal turmoil do these people have to experience before they give a shit about other people? Trump hates America. At this point, Trump hates America. He hates what America stands for. When you look at what's going on with Harvard, he's weeding out the poor. Really? Because it seems to be attacking the rich as well. And more importantly, he's attacking the Constitution. He's destroying the Constitution. It should be an alarm to everyone. Everybody should be alarmed by what's going on. What amendment do you think is next? If the First Amendment is destroyed, what's the next one to be taken out? And see, I'm saying X, Trump hates America, and then I'm giving you examples of it. I don't just keep saying, well, Trump hates America, because Trump hates America, because Trump hates America, because Trump hates America. Like, it's just, it's wild. It really is wild. You know, he's in that Netanyahu, not Yahoo category where I just hope he dies so bad. I just, you know, if I'm going to pray for anything, it's that Trump dies. You know, how does somebody that clearly hates America so much, how does such a, I mean, I guess it's just obvious. You know, when you look at who controls the media, who controls the perception, it all just fits together. Yeah. Like it's just insane. It's insane. You see this. You see that they can't actually make reasonable arguments, right? You know, why are you okay with the First Amendment being destroyed? Why are you okay with trillions of dollars going to Israel? Why are you okay with sending American soldiers over to potentially die in Israel? You know, all these things. These are these things where the jackasses who are, I'm a veteran, I'm America first, you know, all that shit. Well, why aren't you pissed? You know, the way he's circumventing the process, you know, presenting things to Congress. Like the one senator said, if Elon Musk is right, and what they're talking about is actually really good for the American public, why aren't they coming out and presenting it? Why aren't they presenting it as we are going to change these things because if you do that, look, the numbers show this and the blah. Why don't they ever do that? The fact that Trump is making it illegal to protest Israel, it's not because Israel's the good guy. You know, you wouldn't need to make it illegal unless you had nothing to say. There is no good argument for Israel. So they know that. They know that anybody that talks about it or tries to get involved in a debate, they're going to lose, so they're just going to make it illegal. Anytime they tell you that you can't talk about something, it's not because there's an overwhelming, even the Holocaust. You know, it's illegal to talk about in certain countries, and it's frowned upon here. Because they can't maintain that narrative. It's not real. It's not true. And the more you look into it, the more you'll find it's fucked up. April 20th or April 19th just passed. It would have been the 30-year anniversary of the Oklahoma City bombing. Because that happened on April 19th, 1995, something that none of you know. Right? None of you know that. The largest terrorist attack prior to 9/11, and to this day still the largest domestic terrorist attack, that somehow evaporated a Pac-Man sized chunk of a building. Like, we just overlooked that altogether. Oh, it was a fertilizer bomb. A fertilizer bomb did that? Cut everything, just evaporated everything 9/11 style, huh? Dustification and shit. But it's, you know, there's no mention of it. There's no celebration of it. There's no memorial of it. There's nothing that is done country-wide to memorialize, to remember these babies that were killed in that instance. It was babies. Because they don't want you looking. You know, it's just that simple. They don't want you looking. If you look, you won't find what they want you to find. You know, you might on the surface find something, but once you just peel back the layers just a little bit, you start to see it's all bullshit. I'm glad my grandpa knew his politics. He always hated Trump. I am so glad I see through the BS I was blind to previously. But see, the important thing is what blinded you. That's what I never understand. What part of it spoke to you? What part of the Trump presidency spoke to you? I never saw that. Like, I've known that man was a piece of shit since I was a little kid. My dad used to talk bad about him. And I can remember the Ivanka Trump or whatever it was, the divorce and all of the horrible things even when you watch The Apprentice, just an awful, awful human being. So what was it about him that appealed to white America? I mean, they brought him in after Obama, which was brilliant because, so many racist white people were just angry at the idea that a person of color, especially a halfie of all people, some black guy, had sex with a white woman and made it, tainting our gene pool, and blah, 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 all that shit. The propaganda that Trump was a man that acted, not empty words, etc., just pro-America and bringing jobs back to the USA, but I did not understand the implications of anything until recently. Yeah, but again, I don't see that. Like, he was a man of action. Like, you must not have known anything about him. Because he's really not. He's not a good businessman. And he's a real big, like, piece of shit. Like, he's a horrible, horrible person. Why has Omarosa not been elevated? Well, it's because in her book, she talked about him being racist. I fell victim to the propaganda, and I was on lots of meds back then, too. I had to get my brain back to normal. I'm sure that had something to do with my perception. I mean, yeah, I really do appreciate you being so honest about it. Back then they were just pushing pills on people. And then the funny thing is they blame you for it. If you took what was prescribed to you and then got addicted to these extremely addictive substances, then somehow you're the bad guy. Something's wrong with you for doing that. I'm sure. Oh, Angela, seriously? Did you hear that? Jesus Christ. My wife is always farting. Here we go. We have the start. All right, we have the starting one that kind of leaves the nothing trail, and then we're going to get the real thick one. Should probably come right in between the crux of the trees. We'll see. But this is just another one of these things. Like you try talking about it with people, and people act like they're all aviation experts, and they this notion of dropping something, letting something out of a plane is just, oh my God, that is technology we could never ever figure out. How could we ever figure out to drop something from a plane? Oh my God, they're putting chemicals into the air. The government would never experiment on us or put harmful chemicals in our into our systems and stuff. Never mind all the drugs. Never mind the drinking water and the fluoride in the drinking water. I'm so glad I quit them cold turkey. It took 6 years to come back to normal life. It was my memory from the time being on pills was deleted from my brain. Like, that's awesome. That is such an incredible feat for someone to do that, especially to do it cold turkey, because cold turkey is rough. I mean, there are more stupid examples of exactly what I'm talking about are showing up. And I just, I appreciate it because it's going to give you guys a clearer window into what I'm saying. This doofus acts, presents himself as a Christian and all these other things, yet doesn't know anything about his own shit. Makes claims about, oh, it's this Bible verse. Oh, wait, no, it's that Bible verse. Oh, no, it's this Bible verse. And none of them are the right ones. They just sort of say things hoping you don't go look, hoping you don't call them out on it. I was tired of wanting to kill myself because of the intrusive thoughts from them. Scary shit. Yeah. Well, to me, like, you know, we should all be able to grow and cultivate our own plants. And so opium comes from poppies, and then the weed comes from the... But these are the two plants that grow fucking everywhere. Everywhere. And if everybody knew how to grow and cultivate their own poppies, make their own, block of paste or whatever that they could just take little slivers off of, that would completely destroy the pharmaceutical industry. And it's like, who amongst us thinks the pharmaceutical industry is just nothing but good guys? Our best is what they have in mind, our best intentions. Trump's gonna lock everyone down again come fall, come winter. We're gonna have another round of COVID. Just watch. And is that what you want? I know there's a lot of people today talking about April 30th. April 30th is blackout. The Simpsons predicted it. Blah 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 blah. So we'll see. We'll see if by the end of the day we're all still here. But this is something Algo and I used to argue about all the time. Algo thinks it's a big kill. They're trying to kill everyone off, and I just don't think so. We're talking about piece of shit Jays, man. The laziest, most entitled people in the world. And they're not about to start changing their own tires and cooking their own French fries and, making their own clothes and shit like that. They're not going to do that. The thing about being one of the elites is it comes with benefits. You and your running mates, whatever, man, woman, whatever. You say, hey, why don't we go to Cannes this weekend? And we'll go check out the film festival, and then we'll jet over to Japan because I really want to go get some authentic Japanese food, and I want to go to the go pick up some little boys or whatever. Then we should head on over to Switzerland because I want to do some skiing. But then there's this thing in Hawaii that I want to get to, so we'll go spend a couple weeks in Hawaii, and then we'll go to Burning Man, and then we'll go do this. Like, that's how they live their lives. And they're not going to change that. And the only way that can exist is if we're here. We have it ready for them at all points, all times. I forgot all of the information about the largest yacht in the Saudi Arabian fleet. But it's this mega fucking mega yacht. And a crew of like 100 people or whatever. But it's always stocked and ready to go. It might get used 2 or 3 times a year, but it's always ready to go. Like there is a whole group of people that live their lives, their families' lives, and all this shit happens because they're constantly waiting for the bosses to come use the boat. You don't understand how much your take makes me feel better. It makes so much sense. They can't kill us all. They need us whether they like it or not. I know, and that's what more people need to realize. Everyone has this doomsday. Everything that they push on us is a doomsday prophecy. Everything people believe, whether you believe in the round earth, that's a doomsday prophecy. Think about everything they tell us, right? They tell us that we live on a round ball flying through space. That years ago there used to be these big giant mega lizards, much more powerful and more capable than we are. And yet a rock fell from the sky and wiped them all out. At any point, a rock could fall from the sky and wipe us all out. And actually, we're long overdue for a rock to fall out of the sky and wipe things out. They tell you that ice ages happen. That that something will happen and there'll be just an ice age will be triggered. And guess what? We're long overdue for an ice age. They tell you that the super volcano in Yellowstone is going to blow up and kill everybody. Who it doesn't kill with the initial blast, the nuclear winter that comes from it will kill everybody. Plunge the earth into darkness and blah blah, cover up the sun. Everybody's going to die. And we're long overdue for a super volcano. They tell you that at some point a pole shift will happen. They found a woolly mammoth that still had grass in its mouth, meaning it must have been flash frozen. Did you see that woolly mammoth? No, but I heard about it. And guess what? We are long overdue for a pole shift. You believe in Jesus and God? Guess what? We are long overdue for God to come down and kick off Armageddon and wipe everybody out. It really doesn't matter what you believe. It's all death, doom, and gloom. And that's how they want it, because there's a psychological aspect to it. It's depressing. It affects you, like Matt said. It makes him feel better to not think, holy shit, we're on the brink of disaster. We're on the brink of annihilation. We're always on the brink of annihilation. Do you believe in fossils? I'd love to know the process that turns organic matter into stone. How come nobody ever finds half a fossil? The thing isn't quite fossilized yet. It's only 6 million years into the 10 million year process. Nobody ever finds those. And again, what process was it? What natural process turns organic matter into stone? Like you must not have any concept of what happens to organic matter when it dies. Organic matter, when it dies, it immediately starts to decay. And on a micro level, changes are happening, but within hours, you can see the changes that are happening. So the idea that things die and then become these perfect indent, or the footprints. There's a dinosaur footprint. Yup. Yup. Dinosaur stepped right here. Nowhere else, just right here. Petrification. Yep, petrification. Lo and behold, all of the Jorge trolls are showing up to say stupid things. Petrification. Oh, well, that's the process, huh? Yeah, explain it. Even the explanation that, okay, so the thing falls down into the riverbed and then is covered up immediately by some sort of substance that doesn't move at all. Once it's covered up, then it's sealed up, everything stays put, it's never disturbed, and then eventually, through time, the water molecules bring the silica down into the area where the organic matter was, and over time, all of the organic molecules are replaced by silica. Do you know how stupid that is? That's just stupid. That's just stupid. The only way something could get turned to stone is if it was an immediate thing. It happened like that. But, again, I'm not going to sit here and argue with stupid. Stupid is here to be stupid and distract. When you sit here and you pretend like you don't know what happens to death, especially in a warm environment. You ever drive down the road and you see the dead raccoon on the side of the road? If you drive by it today and then you drive by it tomorrow it'll be much bigger than it was yesterday, because all the gases and shit fill in, and then Eventually, the seal breaks, the sphincter or whatever it is breaks, and all the shit comes out, and the thing just flattens out like a balloon. It really is like, that's not, organic matter doesn't just stay put. Stay perfectly still, so then you can have all the individual little lines and the definition that these fossils, it just doesn't work that way. But these are the same people who, the same people saying this are the same people telling you Israel is the good guy. They're the same people telling you, like, don't pay attention to the fact that the Jays have controlled Hollywood forever, and the huge pedophile problem that's associated with it is them. Especially when you read what the Talmud says about it, and it talks about how if a goyim were to violate a child, they should be killed immediately. They should be killed. The Talmud says that you should be killed for violating a child. Unless, of course, you're a Jay, then as long as the child is 3 years and 1 day old, you have to pay the full dowry, and now the child sort of belongs to you. And there's such a great modern day example of it that people, usually don't even notice. Or I'm actually never heard anybody notice it. But To Catch a Predator actually caught something much deeper and bigger than people realize. The guy caught named Jeff Sokol, the guy that was eating the cheese pizza or the pepperoni pizza, and who, like, you think, okay, I'm busted in a situation where I'm fucking trying to hook up with a 13, 14-year-old girl. Do you really think you're going to be hungry? Do you really think you're going to deal with that situation just carefree? Like, it's no big deal. Here, let me get this pizza. No, you're going to be sick. Like, look at all the goyim that get caught on that show. Look at the physical reaction they have to being caught. Bots are stupid no matter what. Exactly. And I've given everybody the chance. Just make your Guy Williams sucks video and show that you're a real life human being, and then I might address your comments. I'm not going to do that, though. They could prove me wrong. They could provide proof of something, and of course they don't. They never do. Why? Because they can't. They're stupid. Couple of old ladies out for a walk, huh?
Oh, yeah. Was you going to say hi? You going to go say hi?
Yeah, you're not going to come jump on me from down back there.
Thanks.
Yep.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Have a good day.
Have a good one. Look at how they're attacking Matt right now. And they're trying to do, oh, you can cry, cope. And they're using all of these words that they've made matter. These ideas that they've made matter. But it doesn't. Like, you're a bot. You're a fake troll who is clearly a pedophile supporter. You're a genocide supporting piece of shit Trump support. Like, even if you were a real human being, your opinion would mean nothing to me. You're just a piece of shit. Why would I give a shit about what you have to say? Do you guys, if if there was a rapist and he was in prison and you heard, oh, the multi-time rapist and murderer in the prison was talking shit about you, would you care? Would anybody care? Oh, no, not the rapist at the prison. Gosh, I wish he wasn't. No. Free entertainment for me. Let me grab my popcorn. I mean, I guess. I don't know. I don't need to be entertained that easily. I have entertainment in my life that's good enough. I can't tell you how much I appreciate them constantly proving the point. Instead of ever addressing, jumped on the fossil bandwagon, right? So clearly they can hear what's being said and sort of address it. So if me bringing up fossils motivates them enough, inspires them enough logistically. Now they're ready to work. How come when they're flat out called pedos, they have nothing to say? When it's pointed out that they're genocide supporters, they have nothing to say. Oh, I know you're not talking about me. I'm just saying. They're this is what they do. And they're trying to distract, they're trying to disrupt. They're trying to get your attention away from what's being said. Because, they know how dangerous it is. It's dangerous. If everybody out there starts talking like me, it's dangerous. How would they ever control things if everyone was like me? They wouldn't be able to pull off anything. And when you see what they're doing, like, again, it really comes down to common sense. When I show you the video from 1903 of the flying train in Germany, and you look at that video, and then you look at the landscape around that, and you realize, like, okay, so that shit looks kind of old in 1903. Where did it come from? I've been, I know I've been questioning submarines for a while, but I need to do a trains expedition, because where did trains come from? You look at the oldest pictures, that Jared Boosters guy, unless they changed their views. I absorbed everything you say, guy. That's sometimes quiet, so I can keep it in memory. Well, I mean, when you look at stuff like again, that Jared Boosters page, there's one video he does, the oldest pictures of Egypt. And these are from like 1850 or something like that. And it shows the Suez Canal. And it'll show like the harbor. And the harbor will be filled with giant fucking ships. Some of them made of metal. When you look at the Suez Canal pictures, you see these big giant machines that apparently move sand. I'm not really sure what they do. They look like bike chains, but they're huge. You have to ask yourself, who is making these big giant steel things? Who made all the steel for the railroads?
Well, watching this show is fascinating because it's set in medieval times before trains and stuff, and the machinery that they show in this is incredible.
Yeah, well, it's supposed to be.
Right, it's the stories that are told.
Right.
The drawbridges and all the different shit.
Well, they show the shit, but they don't show how it came to be. How did they get that stuff? Who invented it? Where were they fabricating all of the steel and shit in these times?
They show the blacksmiths in here in their little stone, huts or whatever,
right.
Houses or whatever. And they've got their fire burning right there in the middle of their house, and right. They're pounding and they're
pounding. Just that one blacksmith is out there just creating the fucking world, huh?
No, each little village has
I know, each little village. It's like people just have no concept of how difficult metallurgy is. And so to think this one blacksmith could take care of a large town's needs? Oh, well, there was two blacksmiths? Really? Do you know how much that requires? But again, the fuel needed to make the trains, or the tracks. Who made all that steel? Where did all that steel come from? There are seemingly pictures of them digging it out that exist, where the railroad is completely covered up and they're digging it out. It was there before. Just like the canals and all that shit. You look at old pictures of any place. Chicago. Chicago's a great one. Because you have the waterways of downtown Chicago, they're already there. The canals and shit are already there. What concrete were they using? A lot of that shit is still the same stuff it was originally. So where did they get it from? Who is manufacturing all of this shit? I wanted to talk about, so that there's a, let's see, we're going to do flood, okay, try this again, flood of 1802. The Great Flood of 1802 refers to the catastrophic flood in Lorca, Spain. The flood was caused by heavy rains that overwhelmed and destroyed the Puentes Dam. The dam breach resulted in widespread devastation, claiming the lives of hundreds of people. Who built the dam? How did they build the dam back then? Don't you think that's fucking strange? I always think it's strange when they talk about like where is the water coming from? When they talk about like mountains that have waterfalls and the waterfalls are persistent. Where's that water coming from? Whether if you want to claim it's snow melt, that doesn't produce enough water to create rushing, like the water for Niagara Falls. Where does all that water come from? It's flowing over a falls and then going out into where does it come from? That's a tremendous amount of water. Where does it come from? So this is funny. So I put the flood of 1802, AI overview, shows me a couple of videos, and then the people ask section, right? And then it says environment and society portal, Great Flood of Lorca. The flood killed 608 people in Lorca and 328 in the countryside. The reservoir had a capacity of 13 million cubic meters and was at the time the largest, blah, blah, yeah, right. So the next thing underneath it, which is just fucking shocking, actually. Great Flood, and then you get Wikipedia, takes you immediately to the Tartarian Empire. The Tartarian Empire is a group of pseudo-historical conspiracy theories, including ideas of a hidden past and mud floods, which originated as pseudo-scientific Russian nationalism. Tartary or Tartaria is a historical name for Central Asia and Siberia. Conspiracy theories assert that Tartary or the Tartarian Empire was a lost civilization with advanced technologies and culture. This ignores well-documented accounts of Tartary within the history of Asia. Does it ignore it? Tartary covers a region, in the present day, Tartary covers a region spanning central Afghanistan to North Kazakhstan, as well as areas of Mongolia, China, and the Russian Far East. I mean, it's real, but it's not real. It's real, but it's not real. The theory of Great Tartaria as a suppressed lost land or civilization originated in Russia, with aspects first appearing in Anatoly Fomenko's New Chronology in the mid-1970s and early 1980s, and was then popularized by the racial occult history of Nikolai Levashov. I don't know. In Russian pseudoscience, known for its nationalism, Tartaria is presented as the real name for Russia which was maliciously ignored in the West. I mean, do you understand that the Japanese don't call Japan Japan, they call it Nippon? Like Nipon, that's what they call it. Why do we call it Japan? Why do we call Germany Germany? They call it Deutschland. They are the Deutsch. They speak Deutsch. So how did it become Germany? And why is that only with Germany that that's the case? Poland is Poland. Austria is Austria. Why is it Germany and Japan, the two places that we had the biggest wars with, aren't really called what they're called? And apparently Russia as well. I mean, when you look at the Russian flag, it really doesn't make any sense. Like, if it's not, what is the symbolism supposed to represent? You have the white knight, you know, with the Rosicrucian cross on the shield and all that, you know, the same symbology that's everywhere. Doesn't matter what country you're talking about. Not only do they have a flag to begin with, but it has the same symbolism on it. But you have this Templar knight on a horse that is stepping on some sort of griffin type character. It's got the lizard face and the wings and it's green and all that. It's like a weird symbolism in itself. But then when you look at the Tartar flag, the Tartarian flag, the yellow flag with that same griffin standing proud, it makes sense. Let's see. The Russian Geographic Society has debunked the conspiracy theory as an extremist fantasy and, far from denying the existence of the term, has used the opportunity to share numerous maps of Tartary in its collection. They've debunked it but then proven it. Since about 2016, conspiracy theories about the supposed lost land of Tartaria have gained popularity on the internet, divorced from its original Russian nationalistic fame. You mean it's gotten deeper, that's all. And really, the only reason there's such a divide and a divorce from the Russians is because Americans have been told that Russians are the bad guys. You know, we've been being prepped for the Russia bad guy thing. That's how they always do it. You know, when I was a kid, I bought the box set of Transformers for my kids when they were little. And a lot of those shows from back then are really bad. You know, they're just cheesy toy commercials. But there are plenty of episodes. There's one in particular where the Transformers have to go to some Middle Eastern country because the oil barons are trying to hog the energy, and the bad guys are, you know, the Arabs. And when you think about how much propaganda was shown to our generation about Arabs being the bad guys, and then the Arabs became the bad guys, and when the Arabs became the bad guys, then it's inappropriate to make them the bad guys in the movies. So now the bad guys in the movies and whatnot become either the Russians or the North Koreans. You know, go look at the Olympus Has Fallen movie. I think that's the first one, Olympus Has Fallen. And it's I think it was released in 2012, maybe 11, meaning it was filmed earlier. You know, it's not like the movie's written and then filmed in the same fucking couple weeks. So it was not only was it filmed much earlier, it had to be written even earlier than that. So you have to ask yourself, you know, isn't it interesting that this movie comes out in 2012 that's all about the North Koreans attacking the presidents, attacking the White House, and actually pulling off this plot that you would think, like, why hasn't anybody done that? I still think it's nuts that Trump can just, like, he can just go anywhere and people don't shoot at him. It's wild. With the weaponry that we have available, like Ben Gvir was walking through New York the other day, all asshole style, like he loves to do in his country, where he just walks through the streets and traffic stops and all that shit. He tried to do that shit here, and people came out of nowhere. People were yelling, so much so that they had to hurry up and get him the fuck out of there because they were worried about his safety. How come nobody shoots him? They claim the longest sniper rifle shot is like 3,000 meters or some shit. Takes 10 seconds for the bullet to reach the target. And yet nobody ever, no full-fledged snipers go half that distance and shoot at somebody. I mean, there was the fake Trump shooting, but honestly, if you don't think that shit's fake, how come it's not being talked about? How come there hasn't been any sort of anything regarding? It's just disappeared. One of the biggest armies in the history of the world. Well, when it comes to our history, you don't know. That's the point I keep trying to make to people. You have to understand that you can't just pick and choose. You either say it's all bullshit, or at least all potentially bullshit, or I'm going to believe it all. One of the two. And that's the problem with all of it now. And this is what I keep saying. It doesn't matter what conspiracy you're distracted by. The best ones are the ones that are true. The pedophilia stuff, that's a true conspiracy that needs to be, fully dealt with and all that. But it's a distraction. Because as long as you're focused on that and the what, you're not focused on the how and the who. And at the end of the day, whether it's chemtrails, it's vaccines, it's the pedophilia, it's the genocide, it's the bullshit government that were the two choices in government, the fake Trump bullshit government that we're given, like any of that shit. If you want it to end, if we want things to get better, the only way any of these things get solved and get fixed is if the Goyim unify and we overthrow the Jays that control the narrative. Right? That's it. Everything else is a manufactured aspect to distract you. If you're focused on chemtrails, like we should be focused on this thing, but if you're focused on it, you're only going to get so far before everybody stops asking questions. Now, in most of the chemtrail groups that if you belong to them, all they want is pretty pictures. They don't want the how. They don't want to know who. They just want to see the pretty pictures you take that scare the other people that see them. That's why I stopped being a chemtrail guy. I still point it out and shit, but that used to be my main thing is let's point out the chemtrails. Let's talk about the chemtrails. But when I realized that nobody wants to talk about it, they just want to see the pretty pictures. It was like, well, stop wasting my time. And there's more than enough people out there talking about this thing and taking pretty pictures. Somebody needs to be doing something different. I've been saying for years, instead of the death, doom, and gloom aspect of chemtrails and HARP, why aren't we pushing like, hey, like rich people who lose all their shit to hurricanes or fires or something like that? You don't have to. The system has a way of deflecting hurricanes, destroying hurricanes. They could absolutely protect all of your stuff. Forest fires, big old forest fires. Literally, all they have to do is use HARP to move the jet stream in place and then cloud seed the fuck out of things and it'll rain it out. Why don't they do that? You love the First Amendment. Yeah, no you don't. If you did, you wouldn't be a Trump supporter. But even still, the whole idea of the First Amendment, the Constitution, the forefathers and all that, it's all fake bullshit. It's a manufactured narrative that they've given us to placate us and to control us. All these super manly men walking around in tights and overcoats and jackets and all these other things with their hair in powdered wigs looking like Shakespearean characters. Drinking alcohol all the time, mead and beer and alcohol all the time because they didn't trust the water, smoking pot all the time. These people, according to the narrative, would have been just piss drunk all the time, and yet they somehow did everything. Jay's, it's Jay's text, it's always Jay's with this. Yes, it is. Why isn't it for you? Why is that an issue for you? This is just another aspect of it. You want me to say it's they? Or you want me to say it's the Illuminati? Or the New World Order? Those concepts that they push on us, that they make movies about? They don't want you talking about the stuff that they made National Treasure about, or the Da Vinci Code. They don't want you talking about that stuff. They just make movies about it. Who do you want me to label the bad guys? Who are the bad guys then? You just want to go with they? Why are people so self-policing when it comes to the Jays? Like, nobody has a problem talking bad about Islam, Muslims and shit. Nobody even has a problem talking about how bad Christians are. Lots of people want to blame the Jesuits and all this other shit. But as soon as it comes down to the Jays, people go, oh, hey, don't talk about that. Stop, you're not supposed to say those things. Why? Oh, I haven't started. I couldn't start the revolution. It's already started. But it needs to be more focused. It's too divisive at this point. It's manufactured. You know, it's based on a bunch of manufactured concepts. You know, if your entire argument is based off of the earth being round, well, then your entire argument's wrong. It doesn't matter what you're saying. It's wrong. And this idea of, you know, because reason for not cloud seeding is it's expensive. The chemicals we ever, oh, the fuck. Ah, right. So it actually exists. It's not like it's this thing that doesn't exist. They flat out, it's stratospheric aerosol injection and marine cloud brightening. These are just two of the methods that they talk about. They say they do it. They have it. They've been doing it. But you don't like that term, so you don't want. But again, what does that have to do with the Jays? And the idea that it's expensive. If you print the money, what is expensive to you? You print the fucking money. Do you understand how stupid you are when you think that the system can't pay for something? They print the fucking money. And a lot of times they don't even print the money. They just add digital zeros to an account. And then a little piece of plastic or whatever is, no money even changes hands a lot of the times. It's just digital. But see, you ask simple questions, right? Oh, it's always Jays with this guy. Yeah, well, why do you oppose that so much? Nothing. They got nothing to say. Shouldn't that alarm you? You making the claim against me, shouldn't it alarm you that you don't have an actual reason for what you say? I focus on them based on research. Based on the research that they want me to have. I mean, it's not even like it's, I'm foolish enough to think I'm cracking some code. No, based off of what they want us to know, it's pretty obvious who controls everything. I'm down with New York Jays. Why? They're not down with you. And when it comes down to you questioning Israel or anything like that, they'll be the first ones to fight you. But at the end of the day, again, you're down with people who believe themselves to be superior in every way, that the rest of us are just dumb goyim, that their women are so disgusting that they need to be cleansed every month, that it's okay to mutilate and violate, molest, assault children as a part of a ritual. You think that's okay? You're down with that? You're down with babies having their penises cut and then sucked on? Like that's, you are. That's what you're saying. You are down with that. When you say you're down with the Jays, you're okay with it. You can't just pick and choose. You don't get to say, oh, well, I'm going to be here for a minute, so might as well start your shit. You can't just say, oh, well, I like their this and that, but I'm going to ignore these other parts. Here comes one of these trying to get me statements. Listen to this one. You mentioned the necessity of not believing anything. May as well go all the way and just preach simulation theory. Why? Isn't that the one that we're supposed to preach? Isn't that the one that is actually pretty common and pretty allowed to exist? That it's just a simulation. You're insignificant and nothing. It's just a simulation. You're not real. You're just a simulation. No, I'm fucking real. And you might not think you're real, but I'm real. Oh, Jesus Christ. Allowed doesn't equal true. Yeah, no shit. But that's what they want us to know. That's what we're allowed to know. So if you base your information off of what they want us to know, it's pretty fucked up. And all conspiracies are real. What you said earlier. Yes, that's what I said earlier. You guys remember what I said earlier when I said all conspiracies are real? Like, do you realize how stupid this is? This is the desperation that this clown who has been here many, many times, this is the best they can come up with. Why do you think this is the best they can come up with? I address the things that are said to an extent. Like, once you've earned the position to where I don't give a shit about what you're saying, that's one thing. But think about this. Think about how stupid this is. How come you guys are okay with Matitz Bepa? Bipa, whatever it's called. I don't know how to say it, but Britmala, Matitza Bitba. Why are you okay with that? Like, at the end of the day, it doesn't matter what other things they do. When you find out that it's part of their ritualistic belief structure to cut and suck baby penises, and yeah, not all of them partake, but all of them protect the rights of those that do. Why are you okay with that? What kind of stupid shit is this? Like, the thing is, I hate them. I hate them. And Goyim circumcision is much different than J circumcision. And yet, and I'm just as against it, no doubt. But it's not like like Goyim are getting sucked on. Little disgusting J babies are getting sucked on. And yet I'm not okay with that. Those babies don't have a choice. They haven't been brainwashed into the cult yet. So, they're just babies. Makes you wonder if little Chris, how far along he was before he was given up and adopted. I know, but like at what age was he given up? Was he given up after the 8 days and the circumcision, or how did that even work?
I've never asked him about his foreskin.
Look at how we have the dumb chick that's always on here that just worships me. Her comment is, "You hate everything." Like I constantly tell you guys, they argue what they are capable of arguing. So if it was true that I hated everything, well, then that would justify the treatment, right? That would justify the stupidity. If I just hated everything, well, then that would justify her weird ass obsession with me. But to actually address the points being made, no, she can't do that. So she has to create the argument that she can argue. There's a reason why I allow these pieces of shit to be here. They wouldn't be here if I didn't allow them to be. I allow them to be here because I appreciate the example they provide. It would be so much harder to point this shit out if they weren't constantly here proving it for me. All you is hate over such hypocrisy at its finest. All you do is hate. Gotcha. Yes. Yes. Don't flatter yourself. I just come here and watch you every day for hours because I hate you. Because you don't believe in submarines. Like, seriously. This is what they think is actually, like, getting me. They're cooking me. I'm getting cooked because they come here every day to watch me and then say stupid things. Boy, obviously it's affecting me, right? Obviously, I'm losing my confidence and all that stuff, right? I'm not a filthy J. How could I be a cop? What ignorance. They're just trying to get you to respond to them, dude. That's all they're trying to do. They're trying to get your attention. You matter to them. You mean something to them. And they're trying to get you distracted and upset so that you're not paying the attention that you should be, that clear-minded attention that you should be paying. That's the goal. I come here to keep up with wild conspiracies. Yep, because my shit changes on a daily basis, right? Wild conspiracies. This is J lingo. This is the kind of shit that they say. All of these cowards who refuse to do the simple thing that will prove their existence. Imagine that. I mean, I don't know how many trolls or how many truthers out there are begging the trolls. You know what? Make a video about me, about how much you hate me, and then send it to me so I can see it, so I can verify that you're a real person. I've never heard anybody else say that before. And of course, the arrogance of the trolls. You just want that because it'll go viral. Yeah, because your videos can go viral. You make videos that can go viral, especially if it's talking about some random person you hate. And it's not like you couldn't just delete the video after I see it, but nope. Nope.
Ugh. You post that on Facebook.
Just wake the fuck up, people. Are you gonna believe you think that somebody that tells you that all you gotta do is, like, why would you ever want to believe in a religion, in a cult that tells you you will go to the same beautiful, wonderful heaven that child molesters and rapists will go to, as long as everybody just says they're sorry. Just say you're sorry. Just repent. And then we all go to heaven together. Why would you ever want to believe in something so stupid? It's not even like it's good, right? You know, when you ask people, what are the reasons, why do you believe in this shit? What good comes out of it? Like, why, you know, what is your actual factual reason for believing it in the first place? But what good comes from it? It's just, it's amazing how somebody like me that goes against the grain has such an easy time going against the grain. There's so much information available that proves the narrative. And yet, the people that supposedly think I'm wrong and apparently have no issue with pedophilia, have no issue with bullshit government, have no issue with the genocide, none of that, they don't have anything to actually say to back up what they're saying. You know, that this dumb broad, she is just as useless as it gets. She does nothing but prove how stupid females are. What good has come from you? Hey, you know what? As long as you pedophiles hang out on my page and you're not surfing the web for kids, I'm at least providing that. But at the end of the day, I'm not a piece of shit troll. You know, I do good by apparently what I do is so good that these people will, you know, put their lives on pause. Doesn't matter what time of day or anything like that. If I go live, they will stay on here for hours because what I'm doing is so wrong and bad and entertaining. It's so entertaining. You know, these clowns, it's just, it really is shocking to think like people think that if they come to my feed every day for hours on end and beg for my attention, that that's supposed to make me feel unwanted. I'm supposed to lose confidence because of that. I'm supposed to think I'm not rocking the boat or doing, especially when it's shit that you don't see anywhere else. You can go watch any truther feed you want to. You're not going to see these same fucking profiles. They only exist for me. They don't have comments on anybody else's videos. They don't go to anybody else's lives. None of it. And you can see it on like any of the videos. Go watch any of the Tartaria videos or anything like that. None of these fucking people will be here. But let me go live, and they're here because I'm wrong. That just makes so much sense. I'm so wrong that I motivate obsession. Obsession. Straight up obsession. That's how that works, right? People are generally obsessed with people that they just hate them so much. I'm so obsessed with you because I hate you. Where does that exist? Where else does that exist? Unless you prove things which nobody on the comments can seem to do. Of course, they never do. They don't provide anything. They don't even have reasonable arguments. It's just crybaby, pay attention to me shit. Why do you think that is? If I'm wrong, it shouldn't work out. It shouldn't work that way. Yep, here's that bong we're using again. Gotta love this bong.
I am going to be back in a little bit. I'm going to go get my nails done and stop at the store, have juice, whatever else we need.
Don't forget the washing machine. Well, I'll do that. It's pretty simple. I mean, if you're gonna be at Wally World, you can get them. Just call me when you get there. You always sew that, but it's more simple, dude. Yep, that's what it is. Not one of these trolls ever trashes the pedophiles. You know, yeah, pedophilia is gross. We need to, nothing, not a fucking word. Not one of them has a negative thing to say about the genocide taking place. I keep trying to talk about big picture things and these people want to talk about me. But it's no, it's simpler than that. They're just weirdos. Like at the end of the day, they're so dumb that they don't realize the alternative is worse. If you're not a bot, a troll, you know, specifically doing a job, and you really are just this weirdo that's obsessed with me, that's worse. How are you so dumb that you don't realize that? You really are a real person out in the wild who could be, you know, learning something, cleaning something, helping something, definitely not working. They're never ever working. Funny, they all have jobs, but no matter what time I go live, they're here for hours on end. They're not spending time with loved ones. They're not, you know, they're not in a group with like-minded people trying to make the world a better place, but they're not that. They're at the page of the guy they just hate so much. I just hate you so much. That is what makes sense. Who buys that bullshit? Does anybody actually think about that shit? The desperation, the you know, it's comical. You know, you start bringing up really old shit, you prove that you've been here for years. Apparently, you've been obsessed with me for years. And again, you're never going to actually give a real example as to why. When asked, why do you have such an issue with the guy that thinks we should kill pedos and cut off the Jays and, you know, stop giving the Jays American tax dollars and all that shit? You have nothing to say. It's because, well, for starters, he doesn't believe in submarines. Like, how stupid are you? When that's your best response, that just says everything. My disbelief in submarines outweighs the pedophile stuff, outweighs the fake government bullshit, outweighs the genocide, outweighs the fake history, outweighs all of it. Does anybody actually believe that? The problem. What? What?
Their grandpa was a fisherman.
Yep. Yeah, he worked on submarines. The problem is most people don't think to begin with. I mean, yeah, they don't delve in. You know, they don't look. But I just you would think like it would dawn on them like, hey, do you notice how this guy makes us look stupid all the time because he asks us questions and wants us to try to sort of justify why we're here to begin with, and nobody has a real good answer, so we just try to make ad hominem bullshit up all the time. Like, that makes me look better. I've said it time and time again. It's different. If it was just people here agreeing with me, then people could go, oh yeah, well those are just yes men who just agree with everything you say. Understand that these are people who are clearly here for negative purposes. And I've told you guys over and over again, if you really want to like affect me and negatively affect me, then prove what I'm saying is wrong. Make me look stupid because you have the facts to back up whatever claim it is. And yet, instead of proving me wrong or even addressing what I'm saying, they're going to talk about any other bullshit. That says everything. If they could debunk me, they absolutely would. If I say something wrong or I, get a date wrong or some kind of bullshit, they're quick to jump on. Forgot what the thing was earlier, but they were quick to talk about it. But then it comes down to this: we need to stop and kill this pedophile stuff. We need to stop the genocide. We need to, overthrow the overlords that keep us all as slaves. And they got nothing. Then suddenly my wife is this and that. And oh, this is a bong. This is a bong. Like, it shows you exactly what I'm saying. Look at how desperately stupid they are for my attention, but they're not actually smart enough to engage in the conversation. So they just start saying stupid shit. It's amazing, man. It's it's a weird, when I started off doing this, I wouldn't have thought it would have ended up like this. I couldn't have pictured this. I wouldn't have thought this way. You don't see it anywhere else. You don't see anybody else. These guys aren't on Stu Peterson's page. Why? Because at the end of the day, Stu Peterson still pushes bigotry and division and pushes, church, Jesus. They still have you, even if he's pointing out all the Israel stuff. The majority of you are just going to go sit and pray that Jesus comes and fixes it for you. Submarines are real. I have been on one. Yep, my statement is offensive. Yes, it's offensive that I don't believe in submarines, yet genocide, pedophilia, all that stuff, that's fine. Don't worry about that. With the real big issue, it's you not believing in some. Seriously. It's become this easy trap that it's like a way to show who people really are. Right? If that's the thing you're going to focus on, then, you say more about you than anything else. Not mad you called it a bong. I'm pointing out that you're stupid. That you're a bot. Right? Because bots would make that mistake. Normal people, even non-weed smokers, know it's not a bong. But that's what the program has been made. You're starting to see this all over the place, where people are asking Google, Siri, ChatGPT, whatever it is, tell me about what's beyond the white ice wall. And then you get all this, the thing waits a minute and then it tells you, or, there's the information is coming. And it's like, why do you think that is? They program it to say that shit. They want you focused on Tartaria. I hate it. I love the Tartaria argument, but it's one of the best distractions they've given us. Because it's so obviously true. And it's something that anybody can go see and try to research. And as soon as you start looking into any of the narratives you're given, your bullshit detector should go off. Unless you're an idiot, of course. But if you go trying to find the construction photos of the Lincoln Monument, you're going to find a couple of bullshit photos. You're not going to find something that validates the narrative you're given. And you'll see that just time and time again. So every time you're like, I wonder if this is Tartaria. Then you go look, fuck, yes it is. Yep, this is one of those old world buildings with a fire. This is one of those old world buildings that we couldn't build today. Like they built it in a year. The breakers is one of the best ones where they say they built the biggest of the Vanderbilt summer cottages within a month. The original building burnt down, so they built this other building with the marble and all this other shit, imported marble, imported this and that within a month. This is the bullshit that you'll find time and time again. You look up any old photographs, they're going to show you buildings in the background, all of it. Tartaria is right there for you to focus on. And they basically supply if you're in the Tartaria world, then you'll notice how recently endless videos have come out, apparently showing lost footage, this, that, of what's beyond the wall or underneath the pyramids or whatever it is. And you're seeing, like, if it's fake, then why is so much energy and effort being put into making AI videos and all this shit to confuse people? At this point, you almost don't know. Like, it's hard to what things are you looking at that are AI generated as opposed to real? And so you realize like there's a reason for it. There's a reason they're trying to create confusion. If it was just some bullshit, then they would let it, burn itself out. But they're trying everything they can to contribute to it, to distract, to divide. I find it fascinating how anybody could believe in Tartaria and still believe in Jesus, but they do. And it's like a sickness. It's everywhere. Look, we have a dumb Muslim on here too. If you pay attention, you'll see the Muslims and the Christians are no different. They're on the same exact stupid path. They just have different characters. It's the exact same bullshit narrative. Of course it is. They flat out tell you that all three of the major religions, Islam, Christianity, and Judaism, all are the Abrahamic religions. Meaning they all come from Abraham. Abraham, who is the father of the J people. The main bad guy in the Bible is Abraham. It's not Satan. And yet, you think because you're a dumbass Muslim that that's somehow better. If Islam was the right thing, then why would you have to push it on people? The thing about the alternative stuff, especially the atheism and shit, that if you start going down that path, you're going to be ostracized. You're not going to be championed. You're going to be the bad guy for going in that direction. It's the opposite of the feeling that you're supposed to get. It's there when you're not believing what you're supposed to believe. When you're believing in Islam, like if Islam was right, how come it hasn't won yet? Supposedly around for 2,000 plus years. Why hasn't it won? Why hasn't Allah made it so it works? Why hasn't Muhammad's dumbass made it so their shit works? Why would there be a second thing that's the exact same thing, just different wording? It's all stupid. If it was real, you wouldn't have to force it on people. You wouldn't have to get them as children. You could let them grow up as adults and then present them with, multiple different options, and they'd pick it. Well, obviously Islam is true because look at all those people walking around that block. That must make it true. It's fucking stupid, man. And it's all ChatGPT controls bullshit narrative. I haven't bothered to read the Quran. Never going to. It's just more dumb shit. But I know the Bible is a J narrative full of J characters. J stories. It's not about Christians. All of the characters are J's. And these are the people that had the magical God phones where they could build an altar and then God would just come talk to them. And God would always be like, all right, you get all the land you can see, everything, and then everyone in it belongs to you now. Bong lips. It's fucking crazy, man. It's crazy. How people will believe in whether it's God or Muhammad, or Islam, Allah, whatever, that they'll believe in it and they'll claim that God answers their prayers and shit like that when they've prayed for countless things that haven't come true. And the things that have come true are usually because they had to put in the effort to make those things happen. And yet they'll still claim that it was God did it. God did it. DJ Khalid. God, skyscrapers. God, I wish I could talk to DJ Khalid and ask him why, as a Palestinian man, he is so quiet about everything going on. And all of his bullshit, God did, that's his new phrase. We the best was the old phrase, now it's God did. Why does God like you so much while allowing your people to be genocided? DJ Khalid, he's such a piece of shit, but he's no bigger a piece of shit than all of the Muslim nations surrounding Gaza that aren't doing shit to help. You have all of these Muslim nations watching what is essentially like, I don't know, 80% Muslims, 20% Christians. I don't know what the fuck. Whatever numbers you get won't be accurate anyway. I just thought about it. In all of these old cartoons, right? When they would ever show like construction sites, you never saw the construction site actually running. You might see a crane moving around a pipe or something so something can walk from one thing to the next in a funny way. But you never see these guys actually, being depicted as building these skyscrapers. Yeah, that's just funny. At the end of the day, I want all pedophiles to die. Rapists as well. If you're a rapist of any kind, you need to die. I get it. There's going to be like some gray lines, where you have like a 18-year-old and a 16-year-old or something like that. I don't think those people should die. And see, that's the good thing about being intelligent humans is we can decipher and we can set the parameters how we need them to be. Well, if you say it's wrong, then it has to be blah, blah, blah. All the people that do that shit where they claim that the law is the law and it has to be followed, the law is the law. Those are the same people that get busted drinking and driving and they expect to be let go. Like if you ever watch a video of a cop getting busted, cops never behave like they expect us to behave. They always expect to get let go. They always expect to get special treatment. They turn into assholes when the one cop says like, dude, it's all recorded. I have to do my job. And of course, they still mute the body camera and turn the shit off when they need to. They still do that shit, but we're all just such, it's impossible to not be hypocritical because the narratives, the parameters for life that you've been given are stupid. They're not doable. You know, Islam is just trash. It's just as trash as Christianity. These are trash bullshit ideas that because they hide themselves in, well, so what? You think thou shalt not kill? You think that's bad? And actually I do. Like again, thou shalt not kill. Well, sorry, I disagree with that. We should absolutely kill pedophiles. You know? But it's such obvious control scheme bullshit that has no basis in reality. You ask Muslims why they believe in Islam and you know, they'll start quoting goofy shit from the Quran talks about black holes. So? The fuck does that have to do with being, how would that prove anything? Well, we didn't know about black holes back then. Then how did we talk about it? Like, are people stupid enough to think the Quran just appeared? You know, it was written by man. It's one of the Abrahamic religions. Like, it's just fucking stupid. I've never seen anyone more obsessed with pedos except you. Yeah, well, I will never apologize for being obsessed with pedos. Like, yeah, sorry, I'm not distracted by believing my fairy tale God gives me favor if I ask him nicely. I'm not distracted by a bunch of other shit. I'm going to call out things for what they are. And you'll never convince me. I love when people say that shit. Because it just shows you what a horrible piece of shit they must be. Yeah, why don't you just ignore the pedophile stuff like I do? That way I get to go to heaven. Tells you everything you need to know about people. Oh, look. The dumb broad can respond to that. So she doesn't condemn pedophiles or anything like that. But me talking about it, oh, that's terrible. Think about how fucking ridiculous that is. Why isn't everyone obsessed with killing pedos? Why isn't everyone obsessed with killing the whole fucking idea of it? No, because I want to go to heaven when I die. And if I talk about that stuff, well, then I'm going to talk about the people that control whether I go to heaven or not. It's all about me. I don't care about the people outside of me. It's all about me. Why do you care about the big picture? Again, this is the Muslim saying this. You know, the piece of shit Muslim who apparently believes Allah just wants all those Palestinians to die. Right? He talks about pedos most of the time. Yeah, like again, think about how fucking, like these people are acknowledging exactly what I'm saying. I'm the bad guy for constantly talking about killing pedos. And notice how they leave that part out. You're not sitting here wondering my stance on things like we do with them because they never say anything. They never have any negative shit to say about it. I am so much more concerned about the people who don't think we should kill them than the people that are constantly talking about killing them. But look at it. Just again, I couldn't ask for these people to be dumber. He talks about pedos because all fae. He talks about pedos all fae because that's what you see. That's what you see all the time. You see pedos out there talking about killing pedos. What desperate fucking nonsense. Desperate nonsense. Yep, I have something to hide. Find it. Find it. Find anything along those lines that you want to. It's called guilt. Yes, it's called guilt. That's not how that works. You don't see pedos out there leading the charge to kill pedos because they're so guilty. But this is that desperate nonsense, man. This is what pedos do. These are the same people making these accusations never have anything bad to say about them. They never have anything bad to say about genocide. They never have anything bad to say about the J control scheme. They're American Trump supporting pieces of shit, blah blah blah. But yep, it's me. I'm hiding something. Amazing. Amazing. And so now I guess that's why they're here. Trying to get me to stop. They're the ones trying to get me to stop talking about constantly talking about killing pedos. Because that's what the good people do. That's what the non-pedo people do. Right? The non-pedo people are like, hey, stop talking about that. That's how that works. Do the deepest dive you want to. Find anything else, anything you can. If you don't think after all these years, these fake bot Israeli profiles haven't done all the deep diving they can do, well, you probably are the stupid ass who believes in Jesus and thinks that you go to the same heaven that pedophiles do. You dig all you want. I see, again, unlike you, I encourage it. I encourage you to find anything you can about me. Go ahead. Let's see what kind of skeletons you can dig up. Unlike these fake profiles who want me to stop talking about this. Right? We have to, it's the fake profiles that want about it that are the good guys. Oh, yep. I haven't been caught yet, which is why that's all I talk about is trying to catch them and kill them. Because it's not like pedos live in the shadows. No. It's not like pedos make fake profiles so they can go places and try to get people to stop talking about killing pedos. No. No, they make feeds dedicated to killing pedos. That's what you see all over the... Just think about how desperate this is. This is the same group that has nothing to say about genocide. This is the same group that supports Trump, but then can't give you any good reasons why. And all of the shit you do bring up, they can't address it. This is the same group that refuses to make videos showing who they are. Yeah, I'm living in the shadows, huh? Not one of these people will make a single video talking about how bad I am, talking about why they hate me so much. Go ahead, make all the videos you want calling me a pedo. Do it. Let's see these videos. Let's see who you actually are behind the fake profile. Ooh, we can't do that, can we? Yep, I pretend to hate him so much. That's what I do. Says yet another fake profile. Love it. See, again, this is how a non-pedo, responds to this shit. Non-pedos deny it, call you out on it, don't hide from the truth. It's the fake pedo, the fake profiles that you don't see anywhere else that obsess over trying to get me to stop. I mean, well, I guess we don't really know what their point is because it's another thing that they can't seem to address. why they're here to begin with. But they apparently they want me to stop doing what I do, which is constantly talk about killing pedos all the time. And again, let's not talk about the the Israeli shit and all that stuff. Yes, I'm absolutely losing it. Oh my God. Yet another fake profile that's here every day begging for attention yet refusing to prove they're a real person. Must be me. It must be me. Pretty fucking interesting. Sounds a lot like Team Jorge to me, but what do I know? Team Jorge is the name given to an outfit of Israeli contractors specialized in the use of malign cyber activities, including hacking, sabotage, and bot farm-run social media disinformation campaigns to manipulate the outcomes of elections. But again, if you think that they only operate at the highest levels, they can't do anything on these low-level feeds like mine. No. Can't do. They couldn't possibly manipulate my feed. They can only manipulate elections. One of the organization's primary tools is a software package called Advanced Impact Media Solutions, or AIMS. The group was exposed in February 2023. Gee, that's weird. That's almost like 6 months before. Nah, forget it. After an award-winning undercover operation by journalists from Israel and France as part of a consortium of investigative journalists coordinated by Forbidden Stories. The organization has been active since at least 2015, although Tal Heyman, the group's head guy, says that they've been doing the same shit for over 20 years. And boasts of having manipulated 33 presidential elections worldwide, many of them in Africa, and in 27 cases with successful results. Their activities were revealed following a 2022 sting operation in Tel Aviv carried out by 3 undercover journalists who posed as prospective clients and filmed their interactions with Tal Heyman, the group's leader and former Israeli Special Forces operative, in which he explained the inner workings of the organization. Tal Heyman used the pseudonym Jorge when working with the hacking and disinformation group, which inspired the name Team Jorge. Let's see. A J using a fake name and a fake alias to manipulate things and try to fuck with things online. Gee, what does that sound like? According to Tal Heyman, the group's leader, Team Jorge has existed for more than 2 decades and has been engaged in propaganda and disinformation activities in more than 30 countries. However, its first documented activity dates back to 2015. What happened in 2015? That's not just before we put Trump in office for the first time, is it? No. And see, I'm sure all the comments are saying stupid shit, but again, I make the claim that these are bot profiles and blah, blah, blah. Now I'm providing you with the evidence for it. I don't really know how else I could do it. These are random profiles. How am I? I'm not computer guy. So I don't know how I would even go about, taking it any further individually. But I don't know how else, like what other information, what other proof do you need? And then you're witnessing it at the same time. Like how does that work? What else would it take? What would you have to see before you actually see it? However, their services have been available to government intelligence agencies, political campaigns, and private companies that wish to covertly manipulate public opinion. Is it that I wrote this? Is that what it is? I wrote this? Yeah, must be me that makes this up, right? One of the organization's primary tools is a software package called Advanced Media Impact Media Solutions, or AIMS. The software automates centralized control of thousands of fake social media profiles on Twitter, LinkedIn, Facebook, Telegram, TikTok, and others, YouTube included. A number of these profiles have Bitcoin wallets, blah, blah. The group also employs hacking techniques to brute force accounts of potential victims. What does that sound like to you? I wish you guys had an example of this so you could see it, and then you could put the face to the word, so to speak. And of course, you guys have heard about Facebook going out of their way when they say, they destroyed, they erased, they whatever the word is. They would say like 800 fake social media profiles out of the Philippines, 1,000 profiles out of China. They brag about this. There are multiple stories you can find where Facebook is bragging about eliminating fake social media profiles from bot farm groups trying to manipulate things one way or another. You won't find a single story regarding Israel, them doing it to Israel. And prior to this being edited, it used to tell you that Tal Hainan bragged about them having 30,000 profiles at their disposal. I read in a different article it was 40,000, so I always say it's 30 to 40,000. But this is just one Israeli black ops organization. This is just the one organization that was exposed. There's countless other Israeli black ops organizations out there doing the same thing. And if just Team Jorge has 30,000 bot profiles, how many fake bot profiles are there in total? I mean, again, what else do you need? What other information do you need? Plus, look at the comments. Look at the comments. Look at how these comments are just proving the point. Like it's like they're desperately, what about that? What about that? Trying to anything they can distract from what's being said. Absolutely proving the point. Because, like I said before, the alternative is worse. If I was them, I'd be much more likely to acknowledge being a bot than just being some loser fucking white guy or dumb broad, sitting alone in whatever room they're in, just waiting for me to go live so they can come desperately try to get my attention. Like, that's worse than the bot profile. If you're saying you're not a bot, then you're the other thing, and the other thing is worse. Because you're saying you're a human who doesn't think that pedos should be killed, who doesn't think that Israel needs to be stopped and the Jays need to be stopped, and you're this Trump supporting little dick weirdo who desperately wants my attention. Team Jorge's activities were revealed after a sting operation by 3 undercover journalists. Gur Megiddo from The Maker, Frédéric Métizou of Radio France, and Omar Ben Jacob of The Harrods, posing as prospective clients, filmed interactions with Tal Hainan in Tel Aviv in 2022 in which he explained the inner workings of the organization. To test Team Jorge's abilities, the journalist tasked it with a disinformation campaign called R.I.P. Emmanuel, spreading a death hoax about a social media personality, Emmanuel the Emu. The hashtag was used in over 1,300 tweets, and a tweet from Emmanuel's owner saying he was not dead received millions of views. In the conversations, Hainan boasted of having interfered with 33 presidential-level campaigns, 27 of which had positive results for the faction that hired him. So the thing about the Emmanuel the Emu shows you that it's not just presidential shit. They can do whatever the fuck they want. Haining claimed responsibility for the 2019 cyber attack against the Central Elections Committee of Indonesia. It's not against American stuff. It's just foreign stuff. Don't worry. Made to look like it had come from China for political reasons. Gee, that's weird. Is that like how the system consistently blames Russia for interfering with the 2015 election, and Russia interfered with the election to get Trump to win. Trump lost, and yet the Jays in the swamp that he was going to drain, the Jays in the electoral college, they put him in anyway. He lost by 2.7 million votes. And yet that Russian interference that there's no examples of, they never give you an example of the Russian interference. But it's definitely not Israel. Whatever you think, it's not the Israel that brags about interfering with elections using social media platforms and whatnot, that has zero repercussions for those activities. That's what's going on here. It's definitely not Israel that was interfering with the elections. Media outlets, including Bloomberg, what was Bloomberg doing in 2019? Reported on the attack in March 2019, noting the probable Chinese-Russian origin of the interference, while an investigation by The Guardian noted that it was more likely the work of other hackers leaving a false trail. He also claimed that Team Jorge interfered in the 2014 Catalan independence referendum, hacked the emails of Chief of Staff of Trinidad and Tobago and leaked a document to cause a political crisis, passed false information to an ABC journalist to influence the 2012 Venezuelan presidential election against former President Hugo Chavez, ran a 2022 campaign claiming the Polisario Front has ties to Hezbollah and Iran, and another 2022 campaign defaming Ali bin Fattah al-Mori, the UN envoy for combating corruption. Gee, he's claiming responsibility for these things. He's claiming responsibility using bot farm social media fucking bullshit. And yet again, blue and white is Facebook. Zuckerberg does nothing to prevent it. Isn't that strange? Isn't that strange? The wider investigation involved journalists from a total of 30 outlets, blah, 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 blah. The global investigation, dubbed Story Killers, was awarded the 2023 Excellence in Collaboration and Partnership Prize by the Online News Association. Gee, isn't that weird again? ABC News, NBC News, Fox News, CNN, none of those guys seem to pick up on this award-winning story exposing how Israel controls social media. Gosh, that is so strange. Gee, I wonder why. Why do you guys think that the J-controlled media didn't pick up on this story? You know, you guys have to ask yourself this shit, man. I've asked myself. I'm asking you guys. And of course, again, they have nothing to say here. Just, I shouldn't be talking about these things, right? I shouldn't be talking about this. Something's wrong with me. I'm the bad guy. Blah, 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 blah. Because I know things. The biggest issue is that you know things that I don't know and then say things that I don't say. How dare you? How dare you be so obsessed with killing pedophiles? What kind of crazy fucking world is this? And of course, this isn't something that like Americans, this isn't something that normal people would do. If you're really out there trying to be a troll for some whatever loser reason you have, your life sucks that bad that you're going to troll people for fun. If that's really your thing, don't you think you'd find somebody that was like, go find one of those 600 pounders? How come the trolls never troll, powerful people, news media people, whatever, trying to get them to do positive shit? Why don't they ever try to make fun of, Roop Raj for not covering all of the pedo stuff? How come they're never to be seen anywhere but here? You can go watch all the truther profiles you want. You're not going to see them here on those profiles. You're not going to see them anywhere but here. And maybe if there are other people out there saying things like I am, and I'm sure there are, and I'm sure I don't know who they are because of that. Those people are going to be just as censored as I am. But for the most part, you can go to any truther profile that's trying to get you to believe that, some kind of Russia bullshit, some kind of Illuminati bullshit, whatever it is. And they're allowed to exist. Go look at Anomaly. Anomaly is one of the... Look at Alex Jones. Alex Jones is a great example. He's a guy who fucking, acknowledges the fact that he's a J. Alex Jones isn't out there talking about this stuff. Alex Jones is famous for telling you that he's going to tell you something. Oh, I've got this information I'm going to tell you. Well, I'll tell you at the end of the show, it's going to blah, 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 blah. And then by the time that comes around, he's like, well, we're out of time. But tomorrow, I'm going to tell you something.
Do you suffer in pain? Are you stiff and less flexible? Do you have trouble sleeping? Are you less active than you once were? Introducing the Easy Well Remedy Massage.
They're desperately trying to get my attention. That's what they're doing. Desperately trying to get my attention and stop, and distract people, to be the distraction, because we're not supposed to talk about what I'm talking about. The last thing the system wants is for people to understand that Team Jorge is a thing. And Team Jorge is just one tiny little sliver of a small piece. There are probably thousands of Team Jorges. Meaning hundreds of thousands, millions of fake profiles out there to descend on anyone who dares speak up. Hainan attended meetings involving Cambridge Analytica as early as 2014. The Cambridge Analytica scandal that you have completely forgotten about, but was a huge fucking deal. Just think about how stupid this is. Emails linked to The Guardian show that Team Jorge was then in contact with Cambridge Analytica in 2015 and 2017 over political campaigns in Africa and South America. The two organizations worked to manipulate the 2015 Nigerian election. The plan was to help get Goodluck Jonathan reelected by discrediting Muhammad Buhari, but the campaign was unsuccessful. One narrative that we actually get details on is one of the 5 that weren't successful. We're not going to get any details on the ones the 27 that were successful. Now keep in mind too, this story is from at least 2022, maybe even earlier, like the beginnings of it, and this information. So a lot has happened since 2022. I would imagine Team Jorge's rap sheet is quite a bit longer since 2022. During the undercover meeting with the journalists in 2022, Hainan showcased his ability to hack into the Telegram account of Dennis Ntumbi. You know what I've learned? Watching guys like Gordon Flowers, that basically Telegram is pretty much all pedo stuff. You don't have a Telegram account unless you're looking for some pedo shit, because that's basically the only reason why anybody would have it at this point. That's sort of the narrative I've gotten from Gordon Flowers. From Alex Rosen. The Telegram account of Dennis Atumbi, a digital strategist for William Ruto during the 2022 Kenyan general election. Atumbi subsequently confirmed to the Star that his Telegram account had been infiltrated and that he noticed increased activity in the run-up to the election. I don't really care about the reactions because it's fucking, there is no reaction. It's stupid. So let's look up Tal Heyman and see what's been changed. Tal Heyman, born in 1973. We don't know when in 1973, but he was born in 1973. Also known by his code name Jorge, is an Israeli businessman and former Special Forces operator who has been involved in disinformation campaigns in order to manipulate elections in several countries. Heyman's organization, Team Jorge, has, for instance, attempted to influence the 2015 Nigerian general election in collaboration with Cambridge Analytica. You know what's crazy is it really does seem like, especially numbers-wise, Israel is by far the largest cyber hacking and you know, has the largest cyber presence in the world. And yet, when you hear about anything happening on that level, whether it's cyber this or cyber that, or it's bot farms, or it's anything like that, the story is never about Israel. Isn't that strange? I wonder how much of a conspiracy that must be. The group operate a software called AIMS for creating fake online accounts on social media networks and using them to spread fake news. Fake online accounts on social media networks. Gee, I wonder what that would look like. Don't you guys wonder what that would look like? Don't you wonder, like, gee, what would they do if dumb Israelis were to actually get into that whole thing, and then, I don't know, let's say they went on a live feed, right? And they were talking shit. What do you think, what kind of things do you think they would say? Too bad we just have nobody knows. We have no examples of it. Tal Heyman's operation was the subject of an undercover investigation conducted by journalists from The Maker, Radio France, and The Haaretz in Israel, working together with the journalism organization Forbidden Stories. It was then jointly reported in The Guardian, Le Monde, Haaretz, Der Spiegel, and others in February of 2023. Heyman has denied any wrongdoing. See also, Troll Farm. A troll farm or troll factory is an institutionalized group of internet trolls that seeks to interfere in political opinions and decision making. Freedom House's report showed that 30 governments worldwide out of the 65 covered by the study paid keyboard armies to spread propaganda and attack critics. That seems weird, doesn't it? I watch live streams around the world. It's never the way we hear it. You're right. And if you watch live streams from around the world, you also never see what you see on my feed. You never see fucking bot farm bullshit like this on people's feeds. You never see interruption and interference, and everything that you see on my feed, you never see that anywhere else. But hey, it's nothing. Don't worry about it. According to the report, these governments used paid commenters, trolls, and bots to harass journalists and erode trust in the media. Attempts were made to influence elections in 18 of the countries covered by the study. Now, this is the part where it's going to give you a list of governments. Watch this. Brazil, China, India, Malaysia, Nicaragua, Philippines, Russia, Turkey, Vietnam, and Ukraine. No mention of Israel, huh? When Israel has one group that claims to have 30,000 fucking profiles? We don't know how many groups there are, but one group has 30,000 and they're not mentioned on here? Gosh, that's convenient. I love when the dumbass keeps pointing out the number. Dude, 12 people, bro. Right, so a censored feed would have hundreds, if not thousands of viewers. Is that what you're saying? A censored feed wouldn't be one that used to have thousands of viewers and then suddenly got dropped down to this bullshit. A censored feed wouldn't be a feed that has 9 viewers and 5 likes. Because most people have over half of their viewers have liked it, right? That's how that works. No, this isn't the definition of a censored feed. This is just me being crazy. And not only am I crazy, but out of the 9 viewers, a bunch of them are fake profiles doing everything they can to talk shit about the guy who thinks we should kill pedos and destroy the J narrative. Yeah, that makes sense. No, that makes total sense. I'm not censored at all. This is just the normal progression. Although you guys don't do this anywhere else, the fact that you're here is just normal. Just normal. Hours at a time, day after day after day. Just totally normal. Let's see what this says about. Let's go with the C also. Alarmism. Excessive or exaggerated alarm about real or imagined threats. Alternative facts. Expressions associated with political misinformation established in 2017. That's the first time it was established, huh? Big lie propaganda technique. Checkbook journalism, practice of news reporters paying sources for information. Citizen journalism, journalism genre. Clickbait, web content intended to entice viewers to click on a link. Confirmation bias, bias confirming existing attitudes. Demoralization, warfare tactic used to erode morale. Disinformation, deliberately misleading information. Doom scrolling, compulsive consumption of negative online news. Echo chamber media, situation that reinforces beliefs by repetition inside a closed system. What is it? Taxes are going to take some spring out of the Easter Bunny step this year. Euromyth, exaggerated or invented story about the European Union. Fact, datum, or structured component of reality. Structured component. Fact checking, process of verifying information in non-fictional text. Well, but who's the fact checkers? What is checking the facts, and what are the parameters by which they consider things? Russia agreed to try keeping NATO. If you fall for the Russia-Ukraine narrative, I just don't even know what to say. So Russia is supposed to be the big bad, right? The other big bad. The United States and Russia are supposedly the big bads with a China close second, blah, blah, blah. I'm supposed to be terrified of these Russians who have this huge military. They were the Cold War, blah, blah, all this other bullshit. And yet, when it comes to fucking Ukraine, and not just Ukraine, but fucking Kiev, just one small city, well, a large city in Ukraine, all of Russia's army, Russia's military, they can't do anything. They can't do it. They can't win. Big badass Russia can't take out Ukraine. That's like the United States suddenly going to war with New Jersey. Well, I guess Ukraine's bigger than that, but still. Population-wise. The thing is that most people don't understand is that Kiev has one of the largest concentrations of one of the largest concentrations of Jays in the region. And for 3 weeks prior to the unprovoked invasion by Russia, Israel was running 3 747s or whatever the largest plane they have is, commuter planes, nonstop from Kiev to Israel, Kiev to Israel, Kiev to Israel, taking anyone who wanted to be brought from Kiev to Israel, get set up with their mansion and, you know, their compound and get their Israeli life, their paid for Israeli life. You know, that 15 billion shekels we give them every year goes a long way. $3.8 billion turns into 15 billion shekels. And that's just the United States. Canada gives another $2 billion. Australia gives 1.2. You know, multiple countries throughout the world give Israel lots of money. For a country with 9 million people, probably closer to 10 million people by this point, that sure is a pretty good life they have to work around. But for 3 weeks, they ran nonstop flights, bringing Jays from Kiev, from Ukraine, based on the law of return, into Israel and setting them up. It was a totally unprovoked invasion. Totally caught off guard. Just like on October 7th, when you're supposed to believe that these podunk fucking backwards ass Muslim extremists who have been just getting their shit kicked in for decades, suddenly, you know, I mean, I don't know where they took off from, but they have all these hang gliders that they are using to override one of the most, if not the most advanced security system in the world. Trillions of dollars have gone into securing Israel, the Iron Dome, the security cameras, all of it. You're not going to find any fucking footage of Hamas flying in on fucking hang gliders. How they got up enough speed to take off in the first place, but never mind all that. They beat the system by using hang gliders and then somehow kidnapped 250 people either back on those hang gliders where I guess they just had, hang on, you have to run with me because we got to get up enough speed, or they had them hang on to the back on motorcycles and shit. You better wrap your arms around me. I will shoot you if you don't. It's fucking stupid. Get the fuck out of here, you dumb cunt. Nobody wants you here anyway. Dumb fake ass profile, man. Fake profile designed to support genocide, pedophilia, slavery, all of it. It's disgusting, man, and it's everywhere. Every fucking where. Factoid, invented claim or trivial fact, fake news, false or misleading information, presented as real, fake news website, fallacy composition, fake equivalence, fear-mongering, deliberate use of fear-based tactics. Filter bubble, freedom of press, information quality, information silo, internet meme, journalism ethics and standards, mainstream media, list of fake news websites, Mudrucker, political bias, post-truth politics. Political culture where facts are considered irrelevant. Pseudo-history. Selective exposure theory. Social networks. Spiral of silence. Tabloid journalism. Tribe. Internet. Slang for unofficial community of people who share common interests. Truthiness. Turning test. Yellow journalism. Those are the see alsos on Troll Farm. Let's see what Internet Troll says. In slang, a troll is a person who posts deliberately offensive or provocative messages online, such as in social media, a news group, a forum, a chat room, an online video game, or who performs similar behaviors in real life. The methods and motivations of trolls can range from benign to sadistic. These messages can be inflammatory, insincere, digressive, extraneous, or off-topic, and may have an intent of provoking others into displaying emotional responses or manipulating others' perceptions, thus acting as a bully or a provocateur. The behavior is typically for the troll's amusement or to achieve a specific result, such as disrupting a rival's online activities or purposefully causing confusion or harm to other people. Trolling behaviors involve tactical aggression to incite emotional responses, which can adversely affect the target's well-being. In this context, the noun and verb forms of troll are frequently associated with internet discourse. I thought this dumb bitch was leaving. God damn it. See? They can't even live up to their word, but I knew if I called her a name, she'd stick around. That's how stupid she is. I knew if I said exactly what I said, she'd fall for it, because she's stupid. If it is even a she, I do actually think it's a she. Just, there's a different level of stupidity with girls. And this one is about as dumb girl as it gets, but I just love setting traps and having them walk into them. It's fucking hilarious. Let's see, where were we? Recently, media attention has equated trolling with online harassment. The Courier Mail and Today Show have used troll to mean a person who defaces internet tribute sites with an aim of causing grief to families. In addition, depictions of trolling have been included in popular fictional works such as the HBO television program The Newsroom. Who gives a fuck? There are competing theories of where and when troll was first used in internet slang, with numerous unattested accounts of BBS and Usenet origins in the early 80s or before. Wow, who knew that, huh? I mean, thanks, Foxcast Media Group. You better watch out, though. You're going to get your media group attacked. The dumb broad hasn't said a single thing that's actually true, or like she can't, like, even the thing where she says she's leaving isn't true. Nothing they do is true. Their whole purpose is to do exactly what's happening here. And it's all ad hominem bullshit. Because again, you have to ask yourself, who is going to be motivated to come to the feed where the guy keeps saying we need to kill pedos and eliminate the J menace? Who the fuck would, who doesn't agree with that? Who doesn't agree with that to the point where they're going to spend hours desperately trying to get that person's attention and or trying to get anybody else who is paying attention to stop? You know, they're going to attack you. You're going to be a bad, bad person. You don't want to be attacked by the troll group now, do you? Who the fuck is going to do that? How would that even work? I covered something like this on my channel in the Quantum Leap podcast, targeted individuals, gang stalking. Yeah, but you've never seen anything like this before. And you know, if you think about it, you know, why would somebody with only 5 viewers get this? If it really is, you know, if I really do suck this bad, then how did these people even only 5 viewers? And 4 of which are fucking trolls? That's not how it works, you know? I've been a victim of the gang stalking and all that shit for years. Things changed for me in 2020, in January of 2020, when I jokingly made the New Year's resolution. But it was just me making a new mission statement that I was no longer going to spend all my time focusing on chemtrails and you know, all of the other conspiracies. To me, the most important thing for us to do at the time was cut off Israel and use that $3.8 billion to form pedophile hunter groups that would find me because I'm a big bad pedo. No, that would find that we would have a government sponsored, fully paid for $3.8 billion a year pedophile hunter group that didn't have to do the Alex Rosen route where they would, you know, have to then hope the cops would pay it. No, the cops are involved in all of it. They're actually doing what thousands of regular citizens are doing quite successfully, mind you, on YouTube. The actual system is doing it now, and they're well-funded, $3.8 billion. That was the original sort of goal. Like, I hadn't quite got to the Jays are the ultimate bad guys narrative yet. That I wasn't there yet. But just making the assertion that we should cut off Israel is what got me targeted like this to begin with. Yeah, the bot situation using AI is crazy. Things changed for me in 2016. I realized most of the conspiracies may be true. It's just, I don't even know if most of the conspiracies are true. I mean, the best conspiracies are true. You know, because that is when it's like the pedophile stuff. It's true. It's an absolute true thing, and you're gonna absolutely put in as much attention as you need to on that one, because that one is you want it to end. But you know, most of the theory, you know, the whole like satanic bullshit, that's all fake bullshit. If they label what they do as satanic, and they've convinced so many people to be fucking obnoxious Christians, they're not going to take from it and learn. They're just going to, oh no, I don't even want to hear it. You said Satan, so I'm done. I don't want to hear nothing about it. No, no, no. Especially fucking black women, man. Black women are just so, like, it's so shocking to me that black people can have fallen for Christianity like they have. What the hell is going on with that? No, you know, I've been able to build my feed up to 20,000 plus viewers like 4 or 5 times. And it would always fluctuate. It would go up and down. Like I remember when we could first go live and all that. Like I was interfered with, but it was, you know, I was posting the pretty pictures and stuff, the chemtrail pictures, and they wanted me to do that. I didn't start getting real backlash until I started questioning who was behind the spray and wondering why nobody's willing to talk about that. That's what got me that's when things changed. But it was still, I was allowed to do it. You know, I was allowed to be this truther who would, you know, was allowed to at least, you know, have some sort of a voice. And then every once in a while they would, you know, test the waters and take the governor off and see how the people would respond. And I think it would freak them out every time. Because, once I get that 20,000, then I get a block every time. But and the funny thing is that from my memory, I don't think I was as J focused, 16, 17, 18, 19. But if you go look at the songs, I was. I'm a Christian nationalist, depending on who you talk to. That could be a good thing or a bad thing. It's a terrible thing. It's terrible. Because you're not acknowledged, like you're stopping your truth mission at the point where you like it. And you're allowing the brainwashing to still affect you. Like the whole idea of Christianity, it comes out of Second Temple Judaism. The Bible is full, it's a Jewish book. All the characters are Jewish. They're not Christians. It's a Jewish book. It's for the Jews. It's not for you. But somehow they've convinced Christians into believing that way. But, if Christianity, just like Islam, if Christianity was real and good and right, it would have won by now. It wouldn't have to be forced on people through threat of slavery, through threat of beatings and or takeaway. I'll take this away, I'll take that away. You would present Christianity and people would be like, fuck yeah, that's the truth. I'm headed towards it. And that's what you see with Truther. It goes against the grain. You're not supposed to think this way, yet when presented with it, you're drawn to it because you know it's the truth. Christianity is just one of their control schemes, one of the three Abrahamic religions. Abraham being the main bad guy in the Bible, the father of the J people. Like, what are we doing here? I'm Christian because I believe in the teaching of Jesus. I'm a nationalist because I think we should help ourselves before we help others. So you're just completely brainwashed. So based on the invisible lines that the Jays have drawn for us to fall behind, although they live in a one-world society, we shouldn't. And we should fall for our my team versus your team thing and all those children being killed. Well, that doesn't matter because they didn't happen to be born in the same place where your parents had sex, right? And your grandparents had sex. You like thinking about that? Grandma was bent over, grandpa was hitting it. Yeah, whose pussy is that? Come on, Gertrude, whose pussy is that? Oh, George, it's your pussy. Oh, is that what you want to think about? Because that's why you're here. That's why you get to be an American, a nationalist. And you believe in the teachings of Jesus. What the fuck does that even mean? Jesus was a whiny little brat. Jesus walked around going, come on, you're supposed to believe in me. Why would you, what in reality makes you think any of that shit's true? My favorite Jesus story, I never read the Bible, man. I couldn't really say anything about, oh my God. Oh, so embarrassing. But you believe in the teachings of Jesus, you just never read the Bible. How does that even make sense to you, dude? Why do you want to be a part of something so bad that you're willing to overlook common sense? It's fucking, my favorite thing with Jesus is is making the blind see. Because when I was growing up, I always thought like making the blind see sort of implied that like it's a evangelist sort of situation, and there's a group of blind people, and Jesus is like, kapow, touch, and they could all see. But the reality of the story is much different, and of course you don't know it because you don't read that shit. See, listen to this. This is stupidity. Open heart. Do your best for good. Tolerance without acceptance. The real church is at home. That is the teachings of Jesus. No, that's not. How would you know if you never read the Bible? You're talking about the teachings that somebody else told you to think. Somebody who conveniently leaves out all the bad parts, I guess. Wow, this is embarrassing, dude. This is fucking embarrassing. Of course, I have 0 viewers right now. Yep, 0 viewers. That makes sense. But so Jesus, the whole thing with the blind see is Jesus is getting ridiculed, and he's walking out of one of the temples, and there's this guy, old blind Billy, sitting on the side of the road. And that's old blind Billy's spot. He sits there all the time begging for change. His family lives on the outskirts of town because they are outcasts, because they have a blind child. Ew. And like people are mean to him. They spit on him. They especially if they're Jays, they spit on him. They're not nice to him. He's old blind Billy and he just sits there and bleh. So Jesus walks up and he spits into the desert sand to make a paste. Now, just think about how much spit it would take to make a paste out of desert sand. And enough paste to he then takes the paste and rubs it in the guy's eyes, covers the guy's eyes. Little, like, makes a little bandage of paste. How much spit did that... How much spit would that have taken to do that? And then he says, all right, instead of just here's a bucket of water, rinse your face off. No, go over there into the water and rinse off. And then you'll be good. So the old blind Billy makes his way into the water, rinses off, now he can see, and of course everything's fine, And everybody's happy, but then one of the disciples says, hey, JC, let me ask you something. And he's like, yes, my child. He says, hey, JC, what did old blind Billy's do? Like, what did he or his parents do to deserve such a horrible fate of him being blind? Like, they must have been, like, really awful people or done some really horrible shit, right? And JC says, verily, verily, I say to you, because he always says verily. Well, my father knew that one day I would need to perform this miracle here and now. So in order for me to be able to pull this miracle off, old blind Billy had to exist for however long he had to exist, enduring a horrible life and his family being the outskirts and blah, 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 all that, so that I could perform this miracle here today. And that's supposed to be like a good story. Or how about the Jesus fed everyone with the fish bullshit, right? So the narrative is that shit's gone down. Jesus and all his followers have commenced upon this place, and they're sitting there, and the disciples are like, JC, we don't have enough food. All we have is these 2 fish and these couple of pieces of bread. And JC's like, that's okay. You, my disciples, you eat well off those 2 fish and just put the scraps in this basket and put the fucking bread in this basket, the crust of the bread in the basket. And they're like, what do you mean, JC? And he's like, just fucking do it. So they eat well, and then they put the crust of the breads and the fucking fish carcasses and whatever scraps are left over in the basket. And then the thousands of people that are there are able to eat from that. It doesn't say Jesus makes a bunch more fish, makes a bunch more bread. Nothing like that. It just says that they're able to eat off of the basket that's provided. But the best part is, like, up until this point, I guess the thousands of followers had a traveling, like, kitchen with them or some shit. And so the hunters would... I still have 0 viewers, Matt. The hunters would go around and catch animals and kill enough animals that then the kitchen people could create meals so all of the people could eat every day. I mean, it doesn't really like to tell you about that. But the one time they do talk about it, Jesus provides for everyone. And then he bounces the next day because he doesn't want everyone to become dependent on him making food for them. So he leaves. That's when Jesus leaves. Do you realize how fucking stupid this story is? My favorite stupidity of the Bible that nobody ever talks about is like, so when the disciple person is asking Jesus about, why this happened, who wrote down what Jesus was saying? There are lots and lots of conversations that take place between God and one other person. They're way out in the middle of nowhere. Who was writing down everything that was said, word for word? Were there little cherubs flying around with their naked butts, writing down everything that was said? Like, where did all this documentation of the conversations go? When Lot's daughters are conspiring to get him drunk so they can lay with him and get pregnant, and it's a 12 and a 14 or a 13 and 12, 13, 11, there's something wrong, because these are virgin girls who are betrothed to be married. And back then, that shit took place early, pre-16 kind of shit. So these are two young girls who are conspiring to get their dad, who had offered them to the rape mob earlier in the day, but the rape mob turned it down. Here, I'll give you my daughters and do with them as you please, or as you see good, or whatever it's written. Who was writing down the conversation between the two daughters? Let's see if you even begin to fucking address any of these things you said. What you mean the parts they talk about slaves or how sexist they are against women? You mean that? Yeah, that's a part of it. You had situations that happened that you should not have got came out of, period. You would say miracle. What? If you have a miracle, give it to me. So funny how so many people claim miracles, and then you ask them, like, well, tell me about this. Tell me about how your foot was stuck in the fucking train tracks and you just couldn't get out, and then train was coming, and you're just like, I can't get out. Finally, you resigned and just said, all right, fuck it, hit me. And when you opened your eyes, it was because you heard the train going by you, and suddenly you were on the side of the fucking railroad tracks. That's a miracle. God came down, and God had this plan for the way things are supposed to go, and then God changed its mind, and there's no other way to explain how this happened other than God came down and picked you up and put you down. Give me your miracle. It shows you have at least 3 viewers on my side. So what does that tell you? I mean, look at Moses. His stuff was even crazier. Even crazier than what? I mean, the whole Exodus narrative is as dumb as it gets. It shows you just how dumb the people are. It's all just fucking stupid. It's so dumb, and it all has to do with the Jays. But we're supposed to believe that this group of Jays wandered around the desert for 40 years? How? How did, one, they not find their way out, but two, how did they survive? What did they eat? What did they drink for 40 years? It's such a stupid narrative. It's like somebody sitting around going, how can we make a crazy, what can we say? Look at fantastic. Let's say they walked around the desert. Oh, let's do it for like 2 years. No, let's do it for like 40 years. Yeah, that's cool. 40 years they walked around the desert? And in order for me to be able to read the Bible, I'd have to do a lot of research into cultures at that time to be able to filter the... Why would the Bible be that way? Why would God write inspire the tell-all book, the book of how it is, and make it so you had to read a whole bunch of other shit to be able to understand it? That doesn't sound very probable. That doesn't sound like a good idea. That sounds like an easy way to create lots of corruption and distortion. How come the Bible doesn't say anywhere, yeah, you're on a spinning ball flying through space at 67,000 miles per hour, revolving around the sun, which is all just part of an infinite universe? How come Jesus, God, never said anything like that to anyone? It's all bullshit. I love when people say, oh, well, you don't know about other things. It's the Bible. It's supposed to be the book. It's supposed to be you read this and you have the understanding book. I was in the Bahamas during the hotel attacks about 10 years ago. And? What's that got to do with it? What's that got to do with anything I'm saying? Got 4 kids. That's the best miracle I got. You have 4 kids? How is that a miracle? Like, think about how arrogant that is, right? You think it's a miracle that you were fucking someone and they got pregnant. That's not a miracle, dude. That means miracles are just a miracle. What value does a miracle have when, you know, that shit happens? Somebody just got pregnant. Somebody just got pregnant. Somebody just got pregnant. Somebody just got pregnant. And so many of the times it's unwanted. What kind of miracle is that? If anything, this is just a way to take credit away from yourself. You had 4 kids. Good job. You take care of those 4 kids? Awesome. I guarantee if you were like, I'm going to stop working and I'm just going to pray that all my bills get paid and my kids eat and all that other shit, it's not going to happen. I guarantee it. I 100% guarantee that if you just started praying for God to take care of you in your life, you're like, look, God, I'm just going to be a servant to you and I'm going to spread your message everywhere and I'm just going to speak God and I need you to help me feed my kids while I do that. It's not going to happen. And when you think about like, so God is there making miracles for you. You're fucking your girl, something you've done plenty of times, but this time she happens to be ovulating. And this time the sperm happens to get to the egg. But that's God making that miracle. At the same time you're doing that, Israel is dropping bombs on children. God must be too busy watching you fuck to help the kids, you know, not die from bombs being dropped on them, huh? Do you understand how arrogant and fucking foolish that is? That is such bullshit. That is such arrogant bullshit. All you did was something that people do all the time and accidentally have miracles happen. Unwanted miracles who cause everybody's life in that situation to be harder. Whether you're a teenager or you're an adult, if you don't want a kid makes your life exponentially worse. Why would God do that? Instead of helping kids not get bombed, why would God do that? Speech and ideas are dictated by culture, depending on how they were able to explain things in Hebrew is different than explaining things in English. And so, I mean, that's just fucking stupid, dude. That's just a cop-out for not wanting to read that bullshit. You say you follow the teachings of Jesus, but then you haven't read the book that Jesus comes from? Again, that's some arrogant bullshit. Well, I watched the video. Well, somebody else that read it told me what to think, so that's what I think. If I was you, I'd be embarrassed, man. I'd be embarrassed when somebody calls me out and that's the best that you can come up with. Why do you believe this? Well, because I fucked my girl and she got pregnant. So yeah, that's a miracle right there. Like, just insane. And the Bible is supposed to be, you know, the Bible was written in 1611. So it was commissioned in 1611. But to use the cop-out that, well, I don't know all why haven't you? If you're going to say your foundations are, I'm a Christian nationalist, that's what you identify yourself as. You're presenting yourself as a learned you know, a person who knows their shit. And instead of you have your excuse, well, I don't know the cultures and traditions of back in the day, so I couldn't possibly understand the Bible. It's not like you've bothered to learn those things. You're just like, oh, well, you know, this car I'm driving, the instruction booklet is in Italian, and I don't speak Italian. So I'm a mechanic. I'm a mechanic on Italian cars, but I don't know why. I don't know what it says. I can't actually fix any of it. Like, it's fucking stupid, man. See, I'm not required just to stop and pray. Taking care of my stuff and doing my best is worship. Says who? See, it's fucking stupid. This is some cherry pick bullshit, right? This is again more arrogant bullshit. Because I'm not comfortable with that when I die, I just die. So I want to go to heaven. And I know that there's like a book of rules on how to get to heaven. But I don't want to read that. That's like really long and it's tedious. It's a really awful read. So I just believe what I want. And then I get to go to heaven for it. That's insane. I'm sure you also use your religious views to justify bigotry in one way or another. Yet you don't even know what they're talking about. So where do you even get these ideas from? If you don't read the book, then where do you get your ideas from? Do you just make them up as you go? Who decides your requirements? Seems like a pretty like easy cherry pick way to do things. You know, I get all the benefits, but I don't have to even acknowledge the negatives. I don't have to worry about that stuff. You know, yeah, the Jays are God's chosen people, so that's what it says. You know, well, that's what I heard it says. All right, I got you. I believe the only reason why God doesn't come to you the way you're expecting, because it would take your free will. It's the best gift you got. That's the dumbest nonsense. What are you talking about? How would that take my free will? Like, who said that to you and it made sense, so now you're repeating it back to me? Because that doesn't make any sense. Why would that take your free will? So you're saying you wouldn't be able to make decisions for yourself once you knew that God existed? And at what point does it work? Like, so God doesn't then answer prayers and stuff, or tithing? I'm not embarrassed, bro. I have my own thoughts and feelings and my own reasons. No, you're absolutely proving my point. You're just sort of an arrogant dick. I hate to say it, but that's how it is. You're saying that you believe in the thing that you didn't come up with, but you believe it in your own way so that you can get the benefits from it and fuck everyone else. Again, it's the nationalist perspective. I can see why you're both of those things. You know, my grandparents fucked here, so I have more rights than other people do. Like, that's some fucked up shit. But you're basically, you know, it's almost like you're smart enough to understand what a toxic mess church and religion is, but you're so brainwashed that you still want the good parts, like going to heaven when you die and having guardian angels and God giving me babies and all that shit. That you maintain your own personal perspective. Like, it's so modern day, right? And instead of being strong enough to detach from the bullshit altogether, you hang on to the parts that you like. And it's so strange. It's strange. It's such a weird way to do things. And there's so many people that do that. There are so many people out there that identify as Christian and don't know the first fucking thing about why they identify that way. I mean, I've never actually had somebody that identifies as Christian that says they haven't read the Bible. This is a first for me, so I do appreciate that. But that's fucking silly, man. That's just fucking silly. Oh, I'm a huge Eagles fan. I love the Eagles, the football team, the Eagles. Yeah, I've never watched football before, but I'm a huge fan of the Eagles. I don't even live in Philadelphia. I don't know, I just like that logo. I just like the colors they use. That's fucking silly, dude. And I appreciate it more than you know, because this is exactly what I'm talking about. You're not the exception. You're the example. You know. This is the same kind of weird ass brainwashed stupidity I'm talking about. Feelings hurt. Don't get it twisted. I'm not calling you stupid necessarily. I'm saying you've been tricked into believing really stupid shit, which makes you stupid. It makes you stupid to believe stupid shit. It's amazing how well this system works. Preferences are preferences, bro. Your preference is no different from my preference. You have your reasons and I have my reasons. Sure. The difference is I can explain myself. I don't have to hide behind cryptic bullshit. And if I'm wrong about something, I can adjust. I can say so. You know, I'm not going to sit here and cherry pick and be, you know, like it's pretty silly when you actually think about what you're doing here. I don't know what's going to happen in the afterlife, to be honest. I don't care. Most is just chilling and drinking and smoking. I guess I kind of do make it up as I go. How do you do it? I don't care. I don't care about the afterlife at all. I'll come to that bridge when I get there. As far as life goes, I mean, I don't know what you mean. How do I do it? I look at what's presented to me and I adjust accordingly. I don't sit here and cherry pick the narratives. I say, look, it's all bullshit. They're just lying to us about everything. That way I'm not attached to anything. I don't assign myself any attachment that I then have to be like, well, because I'm this, I have to ignore that. But the concept of what's going to happen when I'm dead, why would I give a shit? I'm alive. I'm alive in this beautiful, amazing life, this one little shot that we have to experience whatever this reality is. If there's more, there's more. I don't think there is, but if there is, there is. I'll experience that. But why would I focus on what's going to happen after I die? Why would I waste any time on focusing on what's going to happen after an inevitability? It's inevitable. I am 100% going to die one day. No questions asked. Why would I give a shit? That's some insecurity. That's some weird distraction bullshit. And instead of doing everything we can to make our life amazing, we're worried about what happens when we die? That's some backwards ass shit, man. You know, we are a lot better than that. And we just don't realize it. But making it up as you go, taking bits and pieces of the distraction, the separation. I mean, you're justifying separation. Well, I am a Christian nationalist, so fuck everyone else. That's exactly how the Jays want us to think. Because they don't do that. They're a J is a J is a J is a J. If you're a J, then they're a J, and you guys are brothers in arms. And the thing is, they don't look at us any differently either. If you're not a J, you're a Goyim. Black, white, green, Christian, Muslim, it doesn't matter. You're all dumb Goyim. So why don't we look at ourselves like they look at themselves? They are one group and all of us are one group. I agree. And when you understand the foundations of why you might believe in Jesus it's all because of them. They are the ones that created it all, and more so than you realize. Just like always, in the description, Hollywoodism, a link to the movie Hollywoodism will be there. And if you really do give a shit, then go get this link. Go check it out. Hollywoodism explains everything. It explains Trump. It explains the round earth. It explains vaccines. It explains all of it. All in one convenient little package that they made. It's not even a conspiracy video. They made it. They made it bragging about all of their great accomplishments and all this other shit. There's no conspiracy associated at all other than the truth. The true conspiracy of them controlling everything. I'm just being completely honest. I don't think you are. I think you're being as honest as you're willing to be before it starts fucking with your shit. Because if you're completely honest, then you understand there's nothing I'm saying is wrong. You know? You're wrong. There's nothing wrong with being wrong. We're all wrong at some point in our lives. But you're wrong about this. And you're better than this. And instead of being better than, you're purposefully aligning yourself with a creation that they gave you. It's all there to separate us and manipulate us and control us and all that shit. If you're going to turn your back on people because they don't believe the same crazy nonsense you believe, or because their parents didn't have sex, their grandparents didn't have sex in the same invisible country that your, grandparents did, they've got you. That's what they want. They have you right where they need you, and you're pushing away your brothers and sisters instead of unifying. It's all about us Goyim unification. Once the Goyim unify and realize all the fake borders, all the fake, cultural borders, physical, geographical borders, all of those things that are keeping us divided are put there by them. Oh, you can go at me with no filter. I can't be offended by words. What? I don't even know what you're talking about at that point. You're arguing something that's... Why would you be offended by what I'm saying? Nothing I'm saying is offensive. It's the truth. It's offensive that you would believe such nonsense without having any sort of real reason or knowledge base, to the point where you admit that you're just making it up on your own. So why the fuck would you believe it? How do you know you're not believing really awful shit? If you haven't read it, then you just don't even know, man. It's awful and it's stupid. You believe stupid things. If somebody could be an aerospace engineer, and if they tell you that at nighttime on Christmas Eve, they still believe that Santa Claus actually goes around the world and puts presents and blah, 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 you're going to be like, what the fuck? You're stupid. That's a stupid way of thinking. You might be an aerospace engineer, but why the fuck? What are you talking about? You believe in Santa Claus? That's dumb as hell. They have you believing stupid things so that you are stupid. They don't have you believing intelligent things. It's not intelligent to believe that God just decided one day he was going to make this fucking married virgin pregnant. What? What are we even talking about? And then her husband's going to be like, oh yeah, okay, cool. You didn't have sex, you're just pregnant. It's God's baby. Gotcha. Really don't worry about the afterlife, just finding things that work. So, do you believe there's a God? Fuck no, I don't believe there's a God. Why would there be a God? You understand that the God that you believe in has this viewpoint of children being raped by clergy. Even closer. God can smell it, taste it, hear it, see it. All five senses. God's experiencing the children consistently being raped by the people who put forth the narrative. You think that's okay? You think God has that you want to believe in that God that's watching as Israel is dropping American-made bombs from American-made planes on women and children that have already been through multiple bombings and who are just barely surviving, living in tents? You believe in that God that does nothing about any of that shit, huh? That sounds like the God you're down. I'm down for that God. That's a good God right there. Could dinkle dinkle dink and help people out and make things all right, but nope. Dinkle dinkle dink, the Israelis get what they want. It's crazy, guys. It's crazy, and I'm done. I'm done. I've been talking way too long. www.the-bilderberg-group.com. Go get your free download. It's free. All we ask is that you share it with somebody else. It'll ask you how much you want to pay. Just put 0 or donate. Fucking A, donate. Help out. That'll help. It's going to tell you this is an unsecured website. It's okay. There's nothing fucking wrong. It's just it's just more of them throwing these things up there to prevent you from attaching, from unifying. So there's the website. You're going to find the link to Hollywoodism, which I'm not going to tell you to watch anything else. There are other things you should watch, no doubt. But Hollywoodism is the one that explains it all. And it's nobody told me to watch Hollywoodism. I found that shit. The Muslims call you cow. No, they don't. The Jays call you cattle. You're mixed up, dude. You just don't know what you're talking about. But go check that out. And then also I'm going to leave a link to the Facebook page. Our newest song, Nice Try Diddy. Go check that out. We should have more new songs coming shortly. One of which I'm trying to get Charles to record. He just fucking around. Is what I believe is our newest masterpiece. So you're going to have to check that one out. I'm not giving any of it away yet. But we have to unify. And I'm giving as much as I can. Everything is free, and I'm giving and giving and giving. Look at what comes my way in response. Fake fucking bullshit over and over and over again. So go check it out. Get the free download. Go watch Hollywoodism. Go connect with the Facebook page. And most importantly, more than anything else I've said today, you pedophiles, fucking kill yourself.